Our boy got backstabbed in the most savage way you can imagine. This girl just completely shattered his world, and now he's about to make every noob in this game pay the price. See, in this game, newbies get treated like actual trash zero help, and our MC got flamed hard for being weak with no party. But this one girl, she seemed different. She told him she was running solo too, and that he looked like the perfect teammate. Then, as they were leaving the city, she gassed him up about his gear, saying he looked like a real knight. And bro, it took just that one line for our boy to start mapping out their entire future together. First kiss, the wedding proposal, a family. He was already picturing the kids, but when they reached a secluded spot outside the city walls, the girl touched his heart. And I mean, she literally touched it with her magic staff. And as our boy is collapsing, he just has to ask why go through all this trouble. Just to steal his stuff, but the girl just laughs it off, saying she has no need for his garbage tier loot, even calling him a brokey. She then said his parents must be beggars for him to have such a mid setup, and after she finished grinding his pride into dust, she one-shots him saying she's sick of losers, and after PKing her 1000th noob, the girl unlocks a secret class in the game. She's now the very first goddess in the game Chrono Life, and totally hyped with her new class. She just dips out saying she's got a quest to do. Meanwhile, our deleted player gets hit with a huge penalty, forcing a respawn in the nearest city. He also loses half his experience and power, and as he remembers everyone calling him weak, our MC Jiwoo decides to risk it all. He's gonna try and upgrade his weak starter gear. He goes for his sword first, and it fails spectacularly, so raging he tries his gauntlet to make up for it. He tries, and it's another horrible fail. After a few more swings of the hammer, Jiwoo has completely destroyed every single item he owns. He couldn't get a single upgrade. His entire life in the game was cooked. All he could do was cry, but then a tiny branch fell right beside him. It's the free starter item for noobs, basically trash, that other players just throw on the ground, and that's when his intrusive thoughts started to kick in. He just stares at it, tries to upgrade it once, and it actually works. The item gets a +1, giving him a single extra point of damage. He tries again, and it works again. So annoyed by the insane irony of it all, Jiwoo decides to just keep upgrading this junk until it finally breaks. His arm is totally giving out, but when he lands that last hammer strike, the damn stick gets upgraded to its maximum level. A beautiful +99. Our boy Jiwoo is so shook he can't believe it, and he accidentally drops the stick. The moment the item hits the ground, the game registers it as an attack, and it unleashes the single biggest explosion humanity has ever seen. An attack so devastatingly OP it nearly cracked the planet in two. While he's just staring at the sheer destruction, a storm of notifications starts spamming his vision like crazy. He smashed the record for kills in a single attack, taking out 850,617 players. They all just died after accepting he now had the most broken power in the game. Jiwoo decided it was time for his revenge arc. He's coming for everyone who ever looked down on him, especially that goddess girl. Only problem is, Jiwoo is broke. He doesn't even have money for new clothes, and while walking, some other player pushes him. He gets instantly tilted and threatens the guy. Jiwoo just says, "You asked for it." Then he gives him a little tap with his stick. The player explodes, and a huge part of the city is just wiped off the map, and all the people nearby immediately figure out who did it. Jiwoo's feeling pretty confident, but then a system alert pops up and catches him totally by surprise. His item now has a durability of 3 out of 5. He's only got 3 attacks left before it's gone for good, so he ducks into an alley to think. He's got the strongest weapon in the world, but he can only use it 3 more times. Using this to get revenge on randoms is a complete waste, so for once he uses his brain and decides to use it to get famous by taking down the game's strongest boss. Arriving at the Valley of Death, Jiwoo hears a terrifying roar. It's gotta be the strongest boss in all of Chrono Life. Urus, that two-headed dragon mob, tries to flex his stats on our boy Jiwoo to spook him, but before he can even finish his villain monologue, he catches a hands check that deletes one of his heads instantly, leaving him absolutely shook now. The meta has shifted and suddenly Urus wants to talk business, but our boy isn't interested in talking. Since he only had 3 swings left, he decided to just speedrun the most powerful boss to max out his level, so he lands one more attack that leaves the dragon completely shattered. Jiwoo is kinda bummed that his god tier weapon is about to disappear forever, but in that moment, Urus sees a chance to survive and tells him it has a proposal. Jiwoo has 0 patience left and just tells it to talk fast. So Urus explains about these things called ego class weapons. When a strong soul fuses with a weapon, it becomes the most powerful item in the game, and gets infinite durability. However, there's a catch for Jiwoo to get that kind of power. He needs to make a pact with the dragon, that way Urus can live on as a soul. Inside the stick, Jiwoo doesn't even think twice and accepts. Urus then fuses its soul into the stick, and now the item is even more powerful, getting upgraded to Ego class with infinite durability. Finally, Jiwoo can get back to his revenge plot. After all, he can now use his maximum power without a single worry. Meanwhile, back in the city, things are getting heated. Wanted posters with Jiwoo's face are plastered all over the place. Word spreads across the server like a leaked patch. Note dead or alive with a fat bounty of 1 billion gold. And wouldn't you know it? The tryhards are here. Every major guild in the kingdom is logging in to patch this glitch personally. The top 5 whales of Chrono Life assemble their squad leaders, all max-level sweats with a single mission in mind: hunting down the hacker who spawn-camped over 850,000 players in one go. Basically, he's a walking server, crash waiting to happen. He needs to be nerfed immediately. So for the raid leader of this new mega alliance, they picked the most cracked warrior of them all, the King of Arden Castle and leader of the Justice Guild, a total Chad with eyes like an aimbot who commands respect from every noob in the lobby. They form the World Union Guild and toggle PvP against Jiwoo, but they don't know our boy's starter weapon just got an infinite power buff. Jiwoo is fully optimizing his build now, just vibing through the capital city when he suddenly gets hit with a jump scare. Some weird mob glitches out of his staff but starts yapping immediately. Turns out it's Urus, that two-headed dragon from the contract. Jiwoo thinks the dragon looks kinda kawaii now. Too bad it's a client-side visual. Only he can see, but hold up. The vibes are about to get rancid. That serotonin boost gets cancelled fast when Jiwoo picks up a piece of paper asking what is this, only to realize it's his own wanted poster. Bro is stun-locked, staring at it, realizing some mod has been spamming copy-paste on these things all over the city. Textures, they are on every single wall. Urus is actually hyping it up, screaming that this is exactly the clout his big bro deserves. After wiping 800 players in one hit, a feat even the dragon couldn't macro, plus that 1 billion gold bounty is looking juicy. That converts to 1 billion in real-life cash, which is pretty bougie. Jiwoo asks how a coded NPC knows slang like bougie. That should be a violation of the terms of service. But Urus claims the devs don't care since he technically already got deleted. Then he asks what the play is, because with a price tag that high, stream snipers from every server region are going to be hunting for the kill, so maybe we should just ban-wave the entire human race right now. Jiwoo ignores the genocide suggestion, looks at his dropped staff, and then stares at the spam of posters everywhere. Honestly, he's not even mad. The clout is kind of intoxicating, feeling like a verified streamer with a massive following. Since we're in the endgame now, he decides to activate the LHS protocol, leaving Urus confused in the chat, asking what that tag means. Our MC explains it stands for loser hiding strength. Basically the ultimate Smurf account, where a god-tier player roleplays as a total bot. Urus asks why he would nerf himself like that, claiming the other players will just ignore him if he looks like a low-level scrub. But Jiwoo says he doesn't understand the content creation potential. This is going to be prime trolling material, asking if Urus has never seen a sleeper build before. To the randoms, he looks like trash loot, but in reality he is. The main character who just wants to min-max his fun, until out of nowhere, he gets snipped by a random arrow. Urus is shook. Jiwoo hits the floor, spitting red pixels head down, while his dragon pet hovers over his downed body, screaming for his big bro. Meanwhile, up on the high ground, Hawkeye is camping with a legendary cyan bow. With a full clip of matching arrows, he screams about getting the hit marker, while down below his entire guild rushes in. Sprinting towards our prone boy, the Arden Castle sweaty squad boxes him in, and Hawkeye screams over voice chat. By the order of the Supreme Guildmaster, I demand you restrain this toxic player immediately. The guy who sent 800,000 accounts to the Shadow Realm needs to be jailed. The NPCs roar in agreement while Urus is losing his mind, asking if his carry is okay and begging him to clutch up, saying these humans are absolute trash mobs. But a Zerg rush is still dangerous, and despite having a projectile stuck in his hitbox, Jiwoo stands up like a boss facing the army. The soldiers call out the self-res, and Hawkeye screams not to let his cooldowns reset. Focus fire him now. Urus is panicking in the comms, but Jiwoo decides to take back everything he just said. He rips the arrow out and drops it like common loot. Gripping his staff, he says, he just wanted to AFK farm in peace. Just trying to be a background texture, But these griefers pushed him too far, and suddenly a massive energy spike explodes. Lighting up the whole map, he swings his staff and drops a tactical nuke, and in literally one frame, the entire enemy team gets deleted. Hawkeye is coughing on 1 HP, barely surviving, wondering if the server just lagged out. His whole raid party is gone, and he realizes the entire capital city map has been corrupted and wiped from the database. Suddenly, Jiwoo teleports right in his face. Hawkeye is terrified as the MC approaches, so the elf pulls a pay-to-win summoning orb from his inventory, an item that can summon an infinite amount of players. He smashes the orb, and a magic circle spawns under his feet. Dozens of portals start popping off like loot boxes as the elf starts screeching for backup, summoning every single member of the Union to the yard. They hit the mass teleport button, and suddenly the server population explodes with tens of thousands of players spawning in from every rift. And our boy Jiwoo is just standing there, AFK, staring at the chaos, completely unbothered, while the fresh spawns try to circle him up. We are talking about a literal army of 3 million players. The entire World Union server pulled up, just to grief one guy. Their only mission is to delete Jiwoo from the game, so Hawkeye points a shaky finger and screams for the Zerg rush. Looking at this ocean of sweaty tryhards, our MC just lets out a heavy sigh, shifting his beginner staff to the side like he is clearing trash mobs. With a single casual swing, he deletes an entire row of soldiers, their HP bars dropping to 0 instantly, just for standing in the splash zone. They get completely wiped from the database while Urus watches, thinking the game is broken, and Jiwoo swings the stick back the other way for a combo. Then he thrusts it forward and wipes out another huge chunk of the army, leaving the dragon Urus completely shook by this damage output. The dragon honestly thought our boy was cooked if they all attacked at once, which is fair, because normally that is how math works. Even with his boss level stats, Urus knew not even he could solo 3 million players without crashing. It is just too much aggro. These aren't noobs either, they are elite rankers, so even Urus figured he would take the L if he tried to tank the whole guild at once. That is why his big brain strategy was to tactical retreat, saving the KD ratio for another day. But watching this massacre, he realizes his calculations were totally off. Meanwhile, some brave souls think they see an opening in the defense. A squad from the lineage crew tries to speedrun their death, jumping at Jiwoo with swords and spears, hoping to land a critical hit. But the protagonist just flicks his wrist, wiping the whole party with one tap, while another section of the army gets split in half. While the front lines get disconnected back in the safety zone, Abracadabra and her wizard simps are charging up a massive ult. Jiwoo senses the mana spike behind him and turns around, spotting a gigantic magic circle rendering in the sky above. She unleashes the ancient enchantment of destruction, a spell with enough DPS to vaporize anything on the map instantly. A massive laser beam comes crashing down, and for the first time, our boy actually looks a little surprised by the graphics quality. He thinks the skill name sounds kind of dope, deciding right then and there that he needs to copyright his own signature move. He swings the staff upward to counter, and the force of the blow tears through reality, extending way past the atmosphere like a glitch. He calls it Ascension, and just like that, the magic circle and the ancient spell get deleted from the code instantly. Abracadabra is lagging in real life, wondering how he broke her pay to win magic, while the royal sorcerers try to queue up the next attack. But before they can cast a single pixel, Jiwoo swings his stick upwards one more time to cancel their animation, naming this one simply Attack. He sends a shockwave that launches the entire mage party into the stratosphere like Team Rocket. The score is 1 versus 3 million, and it is not even close. A total embarrassment and a disaster for the World Union Guild. Hawkeye is on his knees sweating bullets, realizing he bet on the wrong team, and his account is about to get banned. He is in denial until Jiwoo spawns right in front of him, mentioning he held back on the finishing blow because controlling this much power is annoying. The elf asks why he is still alive, and Jiwoo sighs like he is explaining raid mechanics to a total noob. It is because you shot that arrow earlier, he says, before casually smacking Hawkeye in the face with the stick to shut him up. Naturally, this absolute stomp becomes the top trending clip, not just for Chrono Life players, but across the entire internet. Even people who don't touch grass or video games are watching the replay of this legendary beatdown. Despite the carnage, the beginner stick has 0 durability loss, and as he finishes off the elf, Urus starts fanboying over his big brother. Our MC is wondering where the loot went, when suddenly he senses another player walking up behind him. He spins around ready to fight, thinking it is another annoying Ma, only to find himself face to face with a girl. He thinks it is a drag until the character model looks familiar, and the two of them lock eyes in the middle of the wasteland. But the goddess of life is only looking at him, and Jiwoo feels his rage bar fill up instantly as he realizes who this is. Nobody expected this cutscene, but the goddess just hits him with a creepy smile and says, "Long time. No, see, Mr. Geo." The camera pans out to show the sunset over the plains, decorated with 3 million corpses and enough loot to crash the economy. Swords and spears are everywhere, setting the stage for the most toxic reunion in server history between Jiwoo and the goddess. It is way too dramatic, but he remembers when she called his parents beggars and his hand starts shaking with pure unadulterated gamer rage. He doesn't know if he is laughing or crying because the vibe is so different now, but the goddess just keeps that NPC energy. She asks how he has been and calls it destiny, but Jiwoo calls Cap immediately saying that is total nonsense. He tells her straight up that just looking at her face tells him bad news is coming, while the goddess just keeps grinning like a villain. Our boy Jiwoo is checking the vibe, telling her straight up that while his main quest is to absolutely flatten her into a pancake, he's got one little topic to clear up first. He asks if she decided to change her hair color, and the goddess actually beams like a fangirl, bragging that she had to delete some players to unlock that skin. Turns out sacrificing souls was the crafting recipe for her Secret Goddess of Life class change, which gave her that new dye job. But our MC just stares dagger sighs at the cringe and raises his boomstick. He calls out the logic fail immediately, saying, if you have to spawn kill 1,000 innocent mobs to get the Life Goddess title, the devs really should have named it Goddess of Death instead. She just nods like GG well played, finding his roast hilarious, so Jiwoo hits her with the absolutely before slamming his staff down to start the boss music. A massive energy wave screams toward her as he shouts that story time is officially over because he's done with the cutscenes and ready to skip straight to the violence. It's smashing time, and even though she tries to ask if he's speedrunning this too hard, the explosion drowns her out and turns the entire map into a crater. Our MC stares into the smoke with zero emotion, but then her voice echoes out saying, "What a bummer," claiming she wanted to farm a bit more dialogue before the fight. She teleports right behind him like a lag switch abuser, but Jiwoo's reaction time is god tier, spinning around to smash the ground again. Another nuke goes off, cracking the reality in front of him, and Ura starts screaming in the chat that it was a direct hit. He's hyping up our boy, calling it a frame-perfect strike, smooth as butter, but Jiwoo just shrugs it off, saying, yeah, obviously I landed that. He knows these holy-looking NPCs are usually all bark and no bite. But wait, actually, no. As the smoke clears up, something is sus. She's still standing there, completely unbothered, tanking the hit, with zero damage taken, just staring at him like, is that all you got? She admits his DPS has gone up, sure, but then hits him with the nice try, noob, implying that weak sauce isn't gonna delete her health bar. Urus is freaking out, screaming, look, she's hacking, pointing at her HP bar, and Jiwoo's like, yeah, I have eyes, bro. But while they're bickering, the goddess is just smiling at their comedy routine, and Urus suddenly freezes, realizing she's looking dead at him, and wondering how that's even possible. She's locking eyes with him, which breaks the game rules because nobody except our MC is supposed to have the permissions to see him. He's shook, and even Jiwoo agrees this is glitchy behavior, especially since he was certain his last combo connected. It makes zero sense that she took zero damage, but she just trolls them, asking if they really thought a basic player could nerf a GM-level goddess. Our boy hits the mock surprise, emote scratches his head and decides to engage rage mode, rushing her down with max movement speed. She doesn't even dodge, just stands there waiting for the impact. And boom, another massive explosion effect fills the screen. He's not letting her cooldown reset, spamming attacks and blowing up huge chunks of the map with a relentless combo chain. He's literally deleting textures off the planet now, and Urus is in awe, saying the whole server is lagging from the force. At this rate, the game world is gonna crash, but the goddess is still smiling through the chaos, telling him his DPS check is failing. She pops her wings and hovers above him like a raid boss, entering phase 2, leaving Urus stunned, while our boy starts sweating his stamina bar, blinking red. You can see the exhaustion hitting him. Meanwhile, her wings dissolve into particle effects that float around as she casually walks on air. She steps toward him, asking what his plan is, taunting that he must have been so hyped up thinking about this boss fight every single day. She knows he's been theory crafting ways to end her, but she tells him to just Alt F4 because no matter how much XP he grinds or how OP he gets, it's technically impossible to kill her, she whispers right in his face. And our MC just stands there staring at her like he's AFK for a few seconds. Then he closes his eyes, lets out a long sigh, looks up at the skybox, turns 180 degrees, and actually starts walking away. She's confused, asking if he's rage quitting, but in response, our boy just takes a couple of practice swings with his weapon. He slashes the air and says he was just testing his hit registration, wondering if he hit it hard enough to snap the whole thing in half. She tells him again that it's bugged, and he can't kill her, but he cuts her off, saying, "Who said I was aiming at you?" He was aiming for the server itself. The planet and the goddess looks like her brain just blue-screened, as he explains that since she's unkillable, he's just gonna delete the map, meaning she'll either die in the explosion or get yeeted into the vacuum of space forever. She's looking at him like he's crazy, asking if a basic player character even has the stats to pull off a planetary destruction move. Our MC confirms he's about to drop his ultimate with max power, mentioning he actually did a test run of this glitch earlier that morning without even buffing himself. And suddenly her face drops as she realizes that if he crashes the server, he's gonna go down with it, turning his revenge quest into a pointless suicide run. She asks if he's really cool with a draw, but Ji-woo, who already spent his previous life grinding the hard way, just starts laughing maniacally about the only rule that matters, the law of the jungle, and tells her to open her ears, because it's time for her tutorial on why you never ever trigger a player who has absolutely zero loot left to lose. And now she's actually panicking, screaming, "Wait, wait, wait," in the chat. But he ignores the plea and slams his staff down with 100% power, and the moment it connects, the entire world starts to fragment. Both the goddess and Urus get caught in the blast radius, while our boy just grins with the most unhinged expression I've ever seen. The entire map fractures into 6 massive chunks, slicing the planet like a pizza in perfect ratio. Then boom, instant supernova, sending a shockwave rippling across the entire Chrono Life universe. Total wipeout. Our boy Jigu deletes everything with a single full power smash from his staff. Code starts cascading down the screen like the Matrix, while we cut to a VR gaming cafe. The shift manager is catching some Z's when rage quit. A gamer screams after getting yeeted from the lobby. He is tilting so hard about the disconnect, mainly cause his squad hadn't even reached the final boss yet. Everyone starts flaming the poor employee, asking if he tripped the main breaker or something stupid. Dude wakes up panicked, like, "Chill fam, it wasn't me, the power is fine." Then some big brain kid speaks up. He claims it's gotta be a server crash at Crowley HQ, and suddenly another guy starts yelling. Check the homepage. The devs just posted a notice confirming the servers are completely cooked. Chrono Life is down with no ETA on the fix, and the whole room is absolutely shook. Nobody can believe the game actually died, but somehow one absolute legend is still logged in. His pod status says system active, while everyone else is bricked, so back inside the game world, a system prompt pops up for synchronization, patching the client to version 1.7. It scans for players and finds exactly one Jiwoo is standing solo in a glitched out void room. Floating data is everywhere, and he looks around totally lost, like, where the hell am I? This isn't the map, then. A mysterious voice drops a name, ST-389. The voice explains that's the planet he just speedran into dust, a place famous for its views. Apparently, it was the most aesthetic spot in the 4th universe, and his mom's favorite hangout. Jiwoo whips around to see who is talking, and spots a blonde dude standing there. "Who are you?" The guy just tells him to shut his mouth. Then a creepy, twisted grin stretches across his face. He drops the bomb calmly, "I am God," but our MC just sighs like, "Cool story, bro, not my problem." "Have you seen a black-haired girl?" God ignores him. "It's just us two," and a HUD pops up to prove it. The overlay flashes right in front of him. "Current player count 1. God is confused. "Bro, what is wrong with you? You nuked the server. Obviously nobody survived that explosion." Every living thing got deleted, but instead of feeling bad, Jigu just starts giggling like a maniac. He bursts into full villain laughter, screaming, "I did it! Payback is mine!" He is hyped out of his mind. "Urus, come out! We won!" he shouts with pure joy. But even after summoning his pet, absolute silence. Nothing spawns, so he slams his staff on the floor, spamming the call command. God sighs, "I told you fam, it is just us here, so don't expect that little guy to show up." MC claps back. "If the player count is 1, what are you, a glitched NPC or the admin?" "Neither," God replies, but before he can drop the lore, reality literally starts cracking open. The glitch noise cuts him off, and he sighs. "Ugh, interference already." A spotlight beams onto Jiwoo. "Bummer, but GGS meeting you." God says, "Peace out and say hi to the little furball for me." Wait, what? Jiwoo screams, totally confused, but a flashbang blinds them both, and the deity disconnects. Server shutdown. Complete, the MC gets booted straight to the IRL lobby, the identity room. His pod hisses open, the only one still running, and we see Jiwoo's real-life avatar. He rips off the VR headset, fuming, "Are you kidding me? Why crash right at the climax?" He grunts to himself, and what was that furball nonsense? Then he spots a shady guy, blonde dude, cigar in mouth, staring him down. The man stands up and walks right over. He starts doxing him live. Lee Ji-woo, 21 years old, played Chrono Life for 3 months. And your main is a level 99 staff, right? Ji-woo confirms it but demands, "Who are you?" The guy takes off his shades and drops a bar. "I am the one who is gonna steal your staff." MC's brain buffers for a second, reviewing his stats. He is just a broke college student, totally average. Just a casual gamer who got lucky with RNG. In fact, he was a total noob until recently. So, our boy had just crafted a level 99 staff, and with it, he went on a rampage, smacking down everyone who ever wronged him, including, you guessed it, the ex who did him dirty, no mercy. Then some dude claiming to be God just appears out of nowhere, only to vanish into thin air, and now he's in some fancy restaurant surrounded by what looks like the Men in Black food gets served. And this blonde guy is just inhaling his meal, while our boy Ji-woo is just sitting there completely baffled. Eat up. The guy says the lady who owns this place is a legit S-tier cook. Ji-woo just kinda nods, probably wondering if he's tripping. The man explains this is his old gukbop spot, a place he used to hit up when he was flat broke. 15 years ago, he says my company was just getting off the ground during the beta phase of Chrono Life's development. The puzzle pieces finally click into place for Ji-woo, and he realizes who this guy is, and he's just like, no way. That's when the blonde man properly introduces himself. "I'm Choi Deok, the CEO of Chrono Life." And our MC is like, "Bro, I thought you were a mob boss. Who are all these guys then?" Ji-woo asks, "They're just company employees." Deok, says modelers, music directors, marketing leads, you know the usual. Ji-woo admits he was genuinely terrified. He thought they were actual gangsters and asks why the head honcho of Chrono Life himself came to find him. "Didn't I already tell you back at the capsule room? I'm here to collect that level 99 staff." The news just completely short-circuits our protagonist's brain. Why the long face? Deokbai asks for a gaming company. It's totally standard procedure for us to take back bugged items. But I'm the one who grinded for it. Jiwoo protests, not backing down. 3%, Deokbai replies, deadpan. That's the official success rate. And that's after an item is already upgraded 10 times, and we all know the RNG just gets way more brutal after that. "You probably knew that already," he adds. The reveal leaves. Jiwoo shook, but he argues that if it wasn't a confirmed bug, then there must have been a chance for it to happen, right? He jumps up from the table, but Deokbae just heaves this massive sigh and warns him. "That level 99 staff is going into my inventory." Meanwhile, in the world of Chrono Life, near the village of Frontal, a colossal monster stomps into an open field. It's a level 21 Garus, and a party of players is gearing up. They're all shouting that the mob is aggroed as their mage winds up a fire spell. A huge fireball gets launched and totally engulfs the creature, making the monster scream in pure agony. The party leader is hyped, shouting that it worked, and telling them to use the same attack again. But this one girl, Kyo, just pops all her cooldowns and goes full Leroy Jenkins charging the monster solo. The leader is screaming at her not to go in alone. But it's no use, the creature absolutely body slams her, sending the poor girl flying through the air. She careens straight into the party's priestess and lands right on top of her, taking both of them out of the fight. Instantly, it's panic mode. The other members are screaming that the run is cooked, and they need to get up and retreat. And watching this whole disaster unfold from a distance. Our MC just stands there for a second before letting out a sigh, wondering what in the world he's supposed to do. Next to him, Urus is just casually snacking on chicken and asks his young Neem what the plan is. Jiwoo thinks it over for a moment. He then pulls out his own staff, looking at its completely basic normal stats, and suddenly, he remembers the conversation back at that restaurant Deokbai had laid it out plain. He was taking the plus 99 staff, leaving Jiwoo feeling totally cornered and anxious. The CEO just said it was company policy, and when Jiwoo protested that this whole situation was not even remotely fair, Deokbai explained that he had personally looked into the situation. His final verdict was that the staff wasn't a bugged item after all, and from that point on, the company would stay out of his account's business. So what if he decided to solo the game's final boss PK 3 million players, or just break the entire world? He was totally free to do whatever he wanted as a player. After dropping that bomb, Deokbai just adds more salted veggies to his soup. Then he offers the bowl to Jiwoo, saying it's his choice whether he wants to add them or not. Jiwoo holds the little dish and starts to get up from the table. But at that exact moment, the old woman who runs the restaurant just whacks Deokbai clean over the head, yelling at him for putting that junk in her gukbap. She complains that he's going to drive her crazy, saying it was pointless for her to brew the bone broth all night just for him to go and ruin it like that. Watching this all go down, Jiwoo thoughtfully lowers the plate of vegetables. Back in the present, Jiwoo is staring at his staff, his mind replaying that whole weird soup metaphor, but his attention gets snatched by a nearby party leader who's absolutely losing it. He's yelling about what a trash player. This Jeontuka girl is complaining that she can't even hold her position, which is like the most basic skill for group hunts. According to him, she was playing like a total troll, and because of this one idiot. Their whole farming session was going to be nerfed, all because she joined their party Jiwoo. Then flashes back to a favor Deokbai wanted to ask him. He had said that even if it sounds a little sus, Chrono Life was a genuinely fantastic game. It's a world of freedom, romance, and adventure, a fantasy bigger than life itself. Way more than anyone could have predicted, so our boy's mission was clear. Don't break the server and just try to have some fun for once. Jiwoo's just mulling this over for a sec, when out of nowhere the group leader straight up spits at the girl. It lands square on her scarf, and the dude just tells her to get lost, says he ain't partying with her, and then just turns to leave. He was shook that they were rocking the exact same items as her, and just like that, Keon got booted from the squad. Our boy Jiwoo just watches this whole cringe fest unfold and sighs, thinking this is all such a drag. But hey, that's just the law of the jungle for you. Completely forgetting what Deokbai even said, he decides, yeah, he's gonna enjoy this game, his own way after all. A man's gotta get his soup, his extra thick, piping hot, salty veggie soup. And with that glorious meal on his mind, he just swings his staff and unleashes a massive energy explosion right towards the group of adventurers. But he stops the attack midair when he hears a scream. Jiwoo! Glances back, and it's Keon screaming that this whole game is trash and that everyone can just go to hell. She's yelling that those losers have zero taste for the good stuff. They should have known how OP her weapon was. I mean, she dropped a fortune to buy that sword. And Jiwoo's just watching her completely stunned because it reminds him of when he himself said the exact same things about his own sword. Back in the day, people gave him the same weird looks, too, Keon, and screams that she doesn't need a single one of them. She's not joining any party to hunt. She's gonna speed run this solo. Our boy thinks to himself that he doesn't even know what to think anymore. And right then, the girl hears the telltale sound of a monster that had spawned right in front of her. In fact, she was totally surrounded by a whole mob of creatures, and she just freezes in terror when she sees them. The creatures just open their jaws, let out a massive roar, and start charging in her direction, getting closer and closer as Keon tries to brace herself. But then our boy Jiwoo pops up right in front of her, wondering why the hell she made a choice like that as he moves his staff. He launches a ridiculously powerful attack at the monsters. Everything in that direction is just completely nuked from orbit, and as the dust starts to settle, Keon, who is covering her head, quickly opens her eyes and finds herself staring right at our protagonist. Above him, the sky was totally clear, not a single cloud in sight, and Jiwoo wonders if he acted out of some sense of solidarity, or was it just pity? But he figures, nah, it wasn't for any of those reasons. He just did it because it seemed like fun. And with that thought, he flashes a smile at the girl, leaving her totally and completely confused as our protagonist walks up to her. He's thinking that no matter how you slice it, this situation was a little complicated and chaotic. This was in fact the prologue to the whole story. He asks if they could maybe hunt together, but the girl just tells him to get lost, saying she doesn't hunt with newbies. Then she just spits on the ground and walks off, leaving Jiwoo standing there totally baffled, thinking that this was not exactly a smooth start. Not at all. Meanwhile, over in the city of Seoul, people were just living their everyday lives, but they were always glued to their phones. One single event had captured the entire world's attention. An event people were now calling Judgment Day. A non-stop debate was raging across the global gamer community, and everyone was asking one thing. Who was the player that had taken out 800,000 people? Was he some kind of battle god? The strongest player in Chrono Life? However, one guy declared the whole thing was a total sham. He questioned how anyone could possibly be the strongest, claiming it had to be just a bug or some disgusting hacker. And this was a pretty reasonable take, to be honest. After all, taking on 3 million enemies made 0 sense. That was a number you couldn't beat with just stats and skill alone. The community cried out for justice, demanding the hacker get a permaban, and for the Chrono Life team to actually do their job. For once, everyone was laser-focused, waiting for the company's response. And finally, the long-awaited announcement dropped. Just as one player was screaming to bring out the guillotine, the Chrono Life team declared that the user in question was a completely legit player. According to their investigation, he wasn't a hacker, and he wasn't abusing any system glitches. Everyone was completely shook by the news, and just like that, the entire controversy fizzled out and back on the city streets. People could not stop talking about the incident. The Chrono Life server had apparently crashed, all because of this one single player. He'd apparently wiped out a massive number of them in an instant, and it was the talk of the town. Everyone wondered what he was like in real life, since his face was covered by a hood in the one and only photo that had been released. Meanwhile, Jiwoo just grinned as he trailed after the girl he had just saved. The only thing breaking the silence between them was the sound of their footsteps, until the girl who was visibly ticked off suddenly stopped. Keon spun around and snapped at him, annoyed, asking, "Why are you still following me?" To which our boy, Jibu, calmly replied that they should form a hunting party, and when the hell did I agree to that, she shot back. She tells him to go find a bride as broke and trashy as himself, but our boy is totally missing the insult while she roasts his fit. She points out he's literally rocking nothing but boxers and a level 1 starter stick, the ultimate noob loadout. She ain't got time to carry scrubs and tells him to beat it, leaving Jiwoo confused since he just saved her life. He literally deleted those mobs with one hit, but the dragon realizes this girl had her eyes shut, screaming the whole time. Talk about audacity. Jiwoo realizes she has 0 clue he's actually OP, and a mischievous grin spreads across his face. He decides to troll her by smurfing for a while, chasing after her and shouting "Miss" like a desperate fanboy. He begs her to let him tag along, leaving the poor girl looking completely bamboozled by his request. He hits her with the full act, claiming he knows 0 mechanics and needs a master to teach him the ropes. That title, Master, strokes her ego hard, especially since her last toxic party treated her like total garbage. She is glowing with pride, but the dragon is like, "Bro, what is this cringe?" While Jiwoo whispers it's all part of the strat. Pretending to be a bot is step 1 of his plan, so she clears her throat and tries to act all professional and serious. She admits it's kinda awkward, but agrees to boost the rookie, officially inviting him to join her squad. She claims this expert will carry him, but chat, she's level 24, with a build that is 100% dumped into strength. 0 dexterity, 0 defense, just vibes. She charges straight at a screaming mob near the dungeon entrance. She lands a haymaker on the monster, making the level 4 rabbit bear cough up pixels as it gets launched backward. Before she can celebrate, another one spawns behind her, but she actually manages to dodge with some decent reflexes. She exhales sharply and hits a backflip, leaving the rabbit bear staring up at the sky in total confusion. She comes down with a heavy stomp, crushing the poor beast into the dirt with her signature move. The other mobs pause for a second, totally shook, before they decide to Zerg rush her from all sides. She taunts them to come get some of Master, while Jiwoo is just chilling on the floor watching the show. She's actually got some hands, doesn't she? Even the dragon has to agree with the MC that she's not useless. But let's be real, getting swarmed by that many enemies is dangerous, no matter how trash the mobs are. The dragon says chill out because this girl is decked out in absolutely god-tier equipment. Her weapon alone costs 10 million gold. Jiwoo screams internally because that converts to 10 million won in real cash. Her full loadout is worth like 100 million won. How does a total noob have gear that expensive? The dragon exposes her as a massive pay-to-win whale, and Jiwoo remembers her ranting about quality gear earlier. It makes sense now. She was mad that those losers didn't respect her drip after she dropped a fortune on the game. He wonders if she really swiped her card that hard, thinking nobody drops 100 million unless they're insane. Suddenly, she turns around and screams at him to stop leeching XP and actually do something. She tells him to bonk them with his stick, insisting he needs to fight if he wants to stop being a scrub. While she's flaming him for being lazy, a sneaky rabbit bear tries to backstab her. She keeps lecturing him about his lack of motivation, totally ignoring the enemy about to end her career. She's still yapping, so Jiwoo casually reaches out and taps the monster with his staff. The thing gets instantly deleted from existence, vanishing without even leaving a loot drop. She looks around confused, asking if that was a wind gust, while Jiwoo starts sweating bullets, thinking he's blown his cover. He has no clue how to hold back, but luckily she gets a system DM telling her to log off right now. Something big is starting in 10 minutes, so she sighs and tells Ji-woo she has to go touch grass for a bit. She promises to be back in 30 minutes and tells him to keep grinding, leaving Ji-woo totally confused. Who just rage quits mid-dungeon. He wonders what her IRL job is to afford spending 100 million on pixels. The dragon guesses she's a trust fund baby, and we cut to a super luxury apartment in the real world. Inside a fancy bedroom, the girl is lying down with her VR headset on, finally disconnecting from chrono life. She sits up and sighs, staring at the gear while still processing the wild session she just had. A little smile creeps onto her face, thinking about our noob MC, but suddenly the door gets kicked open. Her producer storms in screaming like a banshee, furious that she's still sitting there gaming. She accuses her of trying to quit her job, but the girl snaps back that she was literally just logging off. And honestly, the producer needs to open her damn eyes. Instead, she just calls our girl a gaming addict. Then she starts bossing Kian around, telling him to speedrun the prep because the clock is ticking under 10 minutes. She keeps raging at her for wearing glasses again, reminding her that headset plus frames equals a nose dent total nerf to her visuals. Yoon claps back that she gets major anxiety without her specs and claims a little concealer can buff out the mark anyway. Her producer shoots her a look, cold enough to freeze the server, then sighs, muttering about how cringe this whole situation is, but tells her to sit down fast. If it wasn't for that sweet loot, she would have definitely VP'd her right there. The makeup kit hits the table, and the producer snatches the glasses off, Kian getting her ready at max speed. Our girl undoes her hair tie, letting her mane flow free like a legendary skin. Cut to the music show stage, the MC is screaming, thanking the chat for waiting so long, and announcing the grand finale of music banking. This player has been camping the #1 spot. For 13 weeks in a row, the most popular idol, the GOAT singer-songwriter of the meta, give it up for. Han Sarang-shi starts singing about her first love, total tearjerker, then waves to the crowd and does her intro. Han Sarang is a top-tier idol and composer, but her secret hobby, she's grinding online games. Back in the dungeon, these rabbit bear mobs start rushing the MC. Shibu says he needs to farm some XP before she respawns. Urus is like, what kind of training is that? The MC explains that if he wants to smudge his stats, he needs to learn control. Basically, he's trying to attack without one-shotting them. A visual of a massive nuke explodes from the planet. Some divine being watches with a smirk, thinking the idea of a pacifist run sounds pretty entertaining. He turns to a mommy figure who's rocking a giant sun on her back and asks if she agrees. Laura Drop Han Sarang was a high school sophomore when she logged into the music industry. Super young with a rough, unpopular start, but now she's the undisputed queen of singer-songwriters. A reporter congratulates Sarang, saying he can't believe she secured that first-place win 14 times in a row. He mentions he's obsessed with the sad lyrics of her debut track, based on the Little Mermaid lore, and wants to know how she writes such emotional bangers. Sarang says she likes to camp at home alone, reading poetry collections, and sometimes even fairy tales. The reporter nods, saying that explains the title. Then Sarang adds that her producer told her to hush about the fairy tales because it's kinda cringe, and makes her look like a noob. The interviewer is charmed, and the whole audience exclaims that it's super interesting. She thanks him, while her producer watches from the back line, complaining that this damn fraud is scamming the whole country, and it's all just a massive lie. The hobby the public doesn't know, she loves gaming. Back in the interview, the host mentions Sarang's acting stats are high too, hearing she played an interesting role in her last drama, a totally spoiled high schooler. Sarang confirms, saying that role was hardcore mode for her since she's never cursed once since Spawn. But inside the game, total opposite, calling Ji-woo a damn bastard. She flames him, screaming that his master is back, and he didn't even say hi. Ji-woo is confused, asking since when she's the boss. Sarang yells, since now. She challenges him, asking if he's tilting and doesn't want her to carry him anymore. Ji-woo denies it fast. Sarang vents her IRL stress by gaming. Urus tells his Hyung-nim to kick this rude player, but Ji-woo says he needs to hide his power level, since he has to roleplay as a weakling. Sarang then orders him to repeat after her, lovely master. She forces him to spam it in chat. Urus thinks his plan actually worked. On the way to the dungeon, Sarang stops and asks if he practiced hunting mobs. Ji-woo just sighs, explaining that cough. It took extreme patience, and the quest is far from over. Urus yells that hitting for 0 damage is useless, but the MC tells him to zip it. Sarang laughs, calling him an eccentric noob and saying she was hype for this. Then she realizes she doesn't know his IGN. She asks, "What's your character name?" "Boxers." Jiwoo is shook, thinking he already told her, and tries to say his name. But she interrupts, announcing she'll just call him Boxers. "Sounds good," she says. The MC is frustrated, asking why she even asked then. Meanwhile, some people are stream sniping the pair. From way back in the nosebleeds, a bearded dude spots her, and his sidekick is like, "Yo, boss, what is the play here?" Beardy goes full villain mode, telling the squad to pile into the dungeon because it is time to serve up some cold, hard justice. A level 22, Rabbit Bear spawns in, and Sarang basically orders our boy, who she still calls Underwear, to draw aggro. Our main character simp walks over, like a total NPC, screaming his head off, to sell the "I am a helpless noob" act. He closes the gap looking absolutely cooked, then gently taps a single hair on the beast's head with his staff, like he is lagging. Bam! Instant critical hit. The monster's skull gets deleted before the poor thing even realizes it is in a boss fight. It hits the dirt, but wait, RNG blesses it with 1 HP left. Our boy is hyped because the pacifist run is still alive. His hit, but do not delete strat worked perfectly, and Sarang starts emoting, bragging about how she cleared it. First try. Just as she is flexing her gains, a dagger comes flying out of nowhere, trying to end her kill streak. She senses the gank yanks our boy out of the kill zone and parries that blade with a clean kick. Beard Guy catches the rebound, looking salty, admitting her reflexes are OP, but telling her to check the scoreboard. He claims she is getting carried by her gear, but Sarang cuts the trash talk to ask who this random player is. Mr. Kim drops the "remember me" line, faking heartache, while revealing his whole squad is from the Halasan Guild. She repeats the name like it leaves a bad taste, while Kim laughs it off, asking what they are farming here. He wants to know their game plan, but then instantly gets bored and yells, "Send it! Get them boys!" She tells our MC to retreat before he gets spawn camped squaring up, as the assassins rush in with weapons hot. She speed blitzes the first goon, landing a boot straight to the face that definitely broke some polygons. Guy is out cold, leaking HP, and she uses his face as a launch pad to go airborne. Doing a sick 360 no scope flip, she triggers her ultimate move, Dragon Stomp of the Fallen. The AoE damage is insane. The impact sends the mobs flying, forcing their leader to scream for a full Zerg rush. Our boy asks chat what is happening. Urus is clueless, so the MC starts theory crafting based on the vibes. He figures out these Halasan clowns are definitely stream snipers who have major beef with Sarang. They have definitely taken the L against her before, but these tryhards just do not know when to rage quit. They are back for a rematch, but our MC notices their stats are trash, barely level 20 scrubs. She is absolutely farming them for XP. While Urus nods along, Kim smirks, like this beatdown is all part of the script. With Sarang busy comboing the mobs, he signals his secret weapon, a sneaky female rogue waiting in the wings. She hits the lag switch, vanishing instantly, and respawning right behind Sarang with claws ready to grief. Sarang spins around, shocked to see the girl's inventory looks empty. She thinks she is facing a brawler class, but nope. The thief casts Steel Puppet in a flashbang that blinds everyone in the lobby. When the screen clears, Sarang is shook. Her legendary gauntlets just got deleted from her hands. The thief inspects the loot, calling Sarang a pay-to-win player for having such god-tier gear. Urus identifies the skill as a rogue steal, but calls hacks, because it should not be strong enough to strip equipped items. Our boy was laughing, at first thinking joke is on you, I am broke. He figured since his build is just underwear and a cape, he was immune to being looted. Then he remembered his OP staff, panic mode engaged. He tries to tactical retreat immediately. He is screaming like a banshee, and Kim tells his squad to ignore the weirdo running away. One look at his base skin, and they assume he is a broke noob with 0 drops. But the thief is a total troll. She tosses the gauntlets to Kim, deciding that grieving a noob is peak content. She rubber bands right in front of our boy, hitting him with the "Hey honey" riz and blocking his path. He panics. Knowing he cannot hide his power level anymore, he swings his staff for a quick speedrun kill. But the hitbox glitches, nothing happens. Even Urus is confused as the smoke fades. His hands are empty. She swiped his main weapon mid-swing. This thief is actually cracked. Now our boy is sweating buckets. She threatens to snag his hood next, leaving him in just his boxers for the whole world to see. Suddenly a massive shadow looms over her, and the boss music starts playing. She looks up and freezes. Urus has unleashed his true monster form, asking this mortal if she is trying to get deleted. Shorty tries to equip the loot without checking the level requirements, gets absolutely terrified, and drops the weapon next to our boy like a total noob. Jiwoo inspects his gear, picks up the staff, and the system immediately flags her, saying Urus's soul ain't vibing with this enemy at all. Since our MC is the only admin here, Urus pops out of the item looking menacing, asking who gave this random permission to touch the merchandise. The dragon claims only Hyun Nim has the clearance to wield him. Looks like this thief got humbled real quick, so Jiwoo just reaches out. He gives the fierce beast head pats, which makes it cringe hard, while the thief is shaking like a leaf, coughing and backing away from that main character energy. She is completely lost in the sauce, wondering if she just saw a glitch or a ghost, but the physics engine felt way too realistic for that. Kim yells, asking what her damage is. Did she forget the mission objectives? But the thief stands up, clapping back that that's impossible. She claims she's a pay-to-play pro-mercenary who only grinds for gold, then suddenly Sarang rushes in screaming like a banshee. She tries to drop-kick the girl, shouting for her gear. Sek calls her a little thief, but the rogue dodges the attack and starts roasting her. Says that jump scare was cute but ineffective, warns her she's aggroing the wrong target because the actual loot is over there watching them. Kim is grinning and clenching his fists ready to throw hands, while Sarang is raging in chat, calling them trash and promising a team wipe. But then she just disconnects from reality after one tap from our boy Jiwoo explains it's his passive skill called Mercy Strike. It is a non-lethal hit, so no XP loss. The thief is super confused, asking what kind of strat that is. She legit thought those two were a duo party. MC just says he was smurfing to hide his power level. She asks what the hell he is yapping about. Before she can finish that sentence, she gets blasted by his aura, instantly speedrunning the fight in a single frame. The whole squad gets wiped with zero effort. The thief is shook by the graphics and asks him, "Darling, did you just solo them?" Jiwoo bonks her on the head with the staff confirming the kill. Her HP drops to 1 pixel, he spams Mercy Strike again and drops some lore. Says he has been through hell levels, so his mental stats are maxed out, but honestly a second ago because of her nonsense. He almost crashed the game trying to wield his weapon. His mana explodes and wrecks the map. Then Sarang respawns on the floor. She wakes up in an open field, feeling laggy, jumps up, panicked, trying to figure out the current patch notes. Jiwoo is camping behind a tree asking if she's up. She gets startled and hits him with the nickname Underwear Boy. Demands the coordinates and asks what happened to the mobs. Our boy says they are near the dungeon and the enemy's combat logged. She is asking what he means and why her screen went black. Then she notices she has got her gauntlets equipped again. Realizing her inventory is restored, Jiwoo asks if those guys were from Guild Jalasan wanting the scoop on their guild wars. He grills her on their identity, and Scheme's girl turns tomato red, wondering why he is acting so wholesome towards her. Asks if he is trying to speedrun a trip to hell, but then sighs with a smile, deciding to drop the exposition dump. Since he got dragged into her mess, she asks if he knows the term pay-to-win. Jiwoo looks blank. He asks what that meta means. Urus jumps in, explaining it is MMO slang. MC is like, how does an NPC know gamer terms? Urus admits he just Googled it on the wiki and starts reading the definition verbatim like a chatbot. Sarang cuts the cutscene short to simplify it, saying it is basically the whales of the server. Players who drop billions of gold to buy skill Jiwoo asks if she is talking about the Jalasan clan. She confirms they are exactly those sweaty tryhards, explains she sniped these gauntlets at an auction months ago. It was total RNG, but now the guild is hunting her down to PK her and steal the loot back. But they are just old griefers with trash mechanics. Their builds are absolute garbage. So, she has been winning every 1v1, then asks how he retrieved the items. Did he loot their bodies? Jiwoo lies, saying they just dropped the items and dipped. Maybe they forgot to auto-loot. She says she has no clue. But she knows they will respawn for round 2 because that old guy's aggro range is infinite. Jiwoo thinks it is. Sus asks why they are so thirsty for her specific gear. Sarang thinks it is obvious since the fists are worth 10 million gold, but our MC counters that logic immediately. That makes zero sense. These whales spend billions on microtransactions but are obsessed with this. Chasing a 10 million gold item is weird behavior. There is a hidden quest here, meanwhile, back at the villain's base. Kim is leaking HP all over the floor, in front of the boss screaming sorry and begging for a respawn token. The guild leader tells him to mute his mic calls, the whole squad useless. NPCs says he is done wasting time. Decides to send in the 4 heavenly kings. For the raid, Kim looks over as 3 players step up to the admin. The second king trashes him, saying, "It is embarrassing to be in the same rank, acting like 100 million gold is pocket change." Third king steps in like, hole up. They wanted to kick Lil Kim, but Big Boss was acting way too soft. Player 1 stays quiet, AFK maybe? Then player 2 drops a knee next to Kim and whispers, yo, we hiring mercs. That strat was total garbage, straight F tier, but the first king jumps in claiming dibs on fixing this mess. He runs a hand through his hair talking about some silencing fist skill that has a 12-hour cooldown. The guildmaster just loses it laughing like a maniac because he loves being called king while sitting on a 12 billion won bankroll. He orders the goon squad to start the blood party event, basically telling them to grief the server for fun. Raid starts, but wait. Our boy Jiwoo just spawns in their base, chillin' scratching his nose like he's bored. Everyone freezes like they're ping spiked. MC scoffs at them, calling them sweaty tryhards for hyping up a massacre. He starts roasting the 4 heavenly kings right to their faces. The boss gets salty and asks for his username, asking for his origin story. Nah. Jiwoo hits him with the Google it yourself and throws major shade. He literally starts picking his nose thinking, man, smurfing as a noob is getting way too hard, I might have to actually try. If they keep messing with Sarang, it's game over. He laughs at their cringe titles and decides to speedrun this boss fight right now. King Size triggers rage mode, calls him a psycho, and sends the mob to gank him. They rush in charging up their ults. They're moving at max agility, but Jiwoo, he just smirks and twirls his stick like it's a fidget spinner. Boom. AOE blast wipes the whole squad. They just got wrecked by a literal twig, a twig chat. Meanwhile, outside some girl is just humming a tune totally oblivious. But back in the PvP zone, first king tries to 1v1 him, but Jiwoo lands a crit with the stick, one hit and dude is coughing up HP potions. Suddenly, bam, the house gets sliced in half. That humming girl, the goddess of life, actually flinches for a second. But then she's all smiles because she knows who dropped that nuke. It's the Whale Lord himself. King screams for every remaining guild member to Zerg rush the MC. Jiwoo just sighs, gripping his stick. He's like, you want my loot? Bring 3 million players next time. Then he swings that stick, smacks an assassin so hard the explosion hits the skybox. Smiling like a troll, he swipes the twig right and clears the whole map sector. The king is standing there face dark, actually shook by the DPS he's seeing. Kim screams at his Hyung, run you fool, log out before you get deleted. But wait, King's thinking Kim is a noob who doesn't get the meta. Besides his elite squad, everyone else in the guild is a total wallet warrior. Even the weakest scrub dropped 10 million won on gear. Not even the top 5 guilds would disrespect that cash flow. So, who is this random dev hacking god? King has a moment of clarity. He's cooked. He thinks, is this the legend from the forums? The sweat who just speedran the entire lobby is staring at our boy Jiwoo like he's about to crash out. He is completely shook because he recognizes the legend. The naked weirdo with a stick bro has been locked in since 2nd grade. Back when graphics were crunchy and XP farming was a total nightmare, no daily quests, no raid carries, just pure skill and 0 hand-holding. Back when graphics were crunchy and XP farming was a total nightmare, no daily quests, no raid carries, just pure skill and 0 hand-holding. Bins late at night, he cherishes those memories of grinding XP with the boys. Then life happened. Adulting nerfs everyone. No time for nostalgia. Before he knew it, he hit level 40 IRL. Now he's CEO Wong sitting in a pristine setup staring at a screen. Minion walks in. Hyung Nim got that retro monitor you wanted. Wong was treating himself to some vintage loot. A relic from the golden age because he grinded harder than anyone. The lackey asks, why use that potato PC for a modern MMO? Wong's like, it's for the aesthetic, bro. You wouldn't get it. Heart pounding like he's back in the login queue. Felt like reuniting with his waifu. But then he grits his teeth. He wasn't the only one patched by time. Back to reality, Jiwoo smacks another goon into the floor textures. Ground shakes like an earthquake event. The king is frozen, glitching out with fear. Jiwoo's like, almost done, just 2 mobs left. King stays quiet as the main character walks up. It's the end of the line for the pay-to-win scrub. He seriously wonders, why steal gear when you're rich? Time for the boomer to get wrecked. King flashes back to smashing his keyboard, swiping his credit card for that 12 billion won transaction. Payment confirmed. Wong realizes he doesn't need to grind anymore, he just pays to win. Just a few clicks and a quick credit card swipe, and boom, you become a god in the server pay-to-win at its finest. Meanwhile, the free-to-play plebs are getting wrecked. That's just the brutal reality of online gaming. Wang finally gets off his chair. He speedran through a bunch of trash clones that were all the same until he finally found the Holy Grail Chrono Life, hoping to find that one specific feeling chasing the nostalgia high from back when he was just a kid. Whack, the staff connects with his skull. Jiwoo hits him with the non-lethal combo. Wang spits blood and eats the dirt defeated. Kim is screaming for his bro, but Jiwoo drops the banhammer announcing the Hollison Guild is officially cancelled, starting now. He says it's a drag, so stop sliding into Captain Love's DMs. Seriously, you guys are annoying. He's ghosting them forever and walks off. Juan tries to reboot his legs, wondering what just happened, asking if that was really him, the absolute unit who soloed the 5 big guilds and wiped out 3 million members of the World Guild. Jiwoo looks back silently. Wang starts laughing and asks the real question, thinking he must be a mega whale who spent a fortune to get those stats absolute pay-to-win behavior. But he's about to realize all his grinding was for fake internet points that don't even exist, watching from afar. Kim looks at his boss confused. Jiwoo replies, he has no clue what he's yapping about. But yeah, he spent some cash. Wang asks how much, doing the math in his head, expecting billions, maybe hundreds of billions of won. And our boy drops the bomb. 55,000 won for the starter pack. Wang's jaw hits the floor system error. MC just walks away like a Chad, leaving Wang grinning like an idiot, repeating the number, 55,001. Flashbacks of his Ragnarok days hit him, and he bursts out laughing, pure hysteria that leaves Kim completely lost. Wang asks how many games they have grinded since the Ragnarok era, and Kim says maybe 8 or so. The boss is dying of laughter, saying this game is actually top tier. Chrono Life is goated and right on cue. The goddess of life spawns in like, hello, Hollison Guild fam. She's vibing with the scenery, saying, it's a beautiful night, hasn't been to this part of the map in a minute. But she roasts their base immediately, calling it a dumpster fire. Turns around and asks if the setup is ready. One starts explaining, but she cuts him off, asking why he's living in the past. He snaps back, saying the contract is void, saying it's irrelevant now, deals off. The goddess looks shook for a single frame. Then she smirks and swish one quick animation cancel with the scepter. Kim's face is frozen in pure terror. Wang drops, literally sliced in half like a watermelon, fatal error, his subordinate. Tries to aggro, screaming for the boss. The goddess is just walking away, saying she skipped the dialogue options. She says, not in the mood. So, whatever stabs Kim in the back, getting pixelated blood all over her own face. He's screaming in agony, totally wrecked. She just watches the carnage unfold with zero empathy. Smiling as she remembers what our boy said, her hair goes dark mode again. Outfit nerfs back to normal, she whispers. Captain Love, and check the kill feed. The numbers are glitching out, rolling like a slot machine, to 99,999. System announces the Jalison Guild wipe, calculating XP total, kill count skyrocketing to 900. 99,000 kills. Jiwoo is confused by the pop-up. System says congratulations, max level reached. He's like, what is this bug? Urus asks if he's deaf. Didn't you hear the notification? System just said I maxed out. He pops the UI, class is novice, level is 999. With almost 5,000 unspent points, they're staring at the screen like it's written in Alien, totally lost. This is Chrono Life, the #1 VR game in the world, topping every chart for users and sales. Hitting max level was supposed to be impossible, even in interviews. Lee San-hyuk, the pro gamer faker himself, said, nah, not happening, even if the whole world grinds 24/7. Nobody has ever hit level 999. Faker said he wasn't even sure the level existed. He said even the best players in the world would need literal decades of non-stop farming to get there. Jiwoo is looking at his stats like, is this real? But Urus is already partying, hyping up the world's first max-level player, saying, that's my big bro, absolute legend. But Jiwoo was sure he was level 7, just the result of swinging that staff 800 times. 1,000 players got absolutely clapped, plus a mountain of trash mobs and dungeons, all feeding into the XP pool from Chrono Life's toughest boss fight. Then you add Urus and the elite dungeon squads, which was basically the final XP boost he needed to break the game. But the real juice that came from wiping out 3 million players from the World Guild Alliance. Yeah, 3 million. You heard me, right? Oh, and he literally nuked the planet for extra credit. That's how the server's first level master was born, and a massive light just exploded under our boy's feet. The whole screen went white, and the system starts spamming notifications that he hit the level cap and is getting warped to some god-tier dimension. While he's getting yeeted across the universe, we cut back to a random corner of the city where Sarang is just chilling on the ground. She's staring at the sky doing absolutely nothing, whispering about how bored she is and how this whole situation is starting to tilt her. She finally gets up wondering where that underwear-wearing psycho went, especially since he told her to just hang tight for a bit. But the sun's already gone down, and she starts racking her brain remembering he mentioned something specific. Something about the Jalasan Guild and spilling the tea on them. Sarang just sighs completely over it and flops back down. She screams, "Whatever," and decides she'll be generous enough to wait exactly 1 more hour. Meanwhile, Jiwoo is standing on a floating rock in the middle of space. He realizes he's in the middle of some weird temple looking up at the sky with absolutely zero clue where the hell he is. He's seriously questioning why the universe keeps ragdolling him from one location to another lately. It's the same vibes as when he met God in Diakbe. Suddenly a voice booms out welcoming the human child and acting shocked that our boy speedran his way here so fast. The voice calls him built different, and the sound is so loud it literally shakes the entire map like a bass-boosted speaker. This entity introduces himself as the Guide of Transcendence, basically the god of classes, giving our MC props for taking the first step on this nightmare difficulty run. He says hitting master level while still being a base class novice is a grind that deserves mad respect. But then Urus chimes in. The dragon is confused, asking how that's even possible. Did our boy just forget to click the class change button or what? Jiwoo denies it, explaining he used to aim for a boring prosecutor job. But right then the hidden conditions unlock and the class change cutscene triggers. He's unlocking a secret Class A blinding light smacks into him, and a bunch of glowing orbs spawn right in front of his face. One orb turns into a sword icon and slams into him at Mach speed, fusing the soul of the sword directly into his character data. Then it starts raining orbs representing every weapon you can think of. We're talking the soul of the shield, the soul of the bow, the wand, the gauntlets, the spear. He's absorbing all of them one by one like a weapon vacuum. Once every single weapon soul is locked inside him, Jiwoo feels a massive power spike surging through his veins. The system dings with a message saying the class change is done. He is now officially a master class novice. And here's the broken perk. All his spent stat points get refunded and then tripled. Suddenly his UI starts glitching out. Every stat resets to the base 5, and he gets a massive dump of 15,000 unspent points. Urus is losing it. The dragon is completely shook, staring at exactly 14,985 points, asking what the hell is going on. Jiwoo asks if this is the class change buff, and Urus confirms it, explaining that usually you only get a measly 5 points when you level up. But our boy just hit the jackpot with 15,000 points. Even if there are other max level players, his raw stat pool is just unfair. He's literally 3 times stronger than the competition. It's absolute madness, probably the biggest flex in the entire history of gaming. But Jiwoo totally ignores the dragon and starts staring at his stats, a creepy smile forming on his face, like he's about to do something chaotic. He starts spamming the plus button on just one single stat. Urus starts freaking out, asking his master what on earth he's doing. The dragon can't believe his eyes, but Jiwoo just replies deadpan, saying he's simply distributing his stats. Urus yells that he knows that, but watching him dump points so carelessly is painful. Wasting even a single point can ruin a build. He warns Jiwoo that people will call him trash tier panic written all over his face as he screams, "Why are you dumping everything into one stat?" And out of all of them, why that one Jiwoo finally finishes his clicking spree and says he doesn't need any other stats right now. Urus groans that it's over, the build is cooked, and calls him a total loser. Meanwhile, back at the Chronolife headquarters, an employee, he barges in to tell the president there's a massive issue. Jack B asks what's wrong, but the dev says he needs to see it with his own eyes, because the glitch involves that specific user again. In the control room, Jack B walks up to the screens demanding an update. His employee doesn't even say a word, just points a shaking finger at the monitor. Diakbe is shook, our skinny boy actually speed ran to the level cap, but the dev is like, nah, the level ain't the issue. It's the build that's the problem. Diakbe asks what the drama is about. What stat did he dump his points into? The dev points at the monitor showing the stat distribution, and the CEO is absolutely floored. But then Diakbe just busts out laughing. You can tell he respects the grind. MC is min-maxing his fun, but the dev is sweating, insisting this isn't a joke. He claims the character is brick, totally useless trash once the player realizes what he's done. What happens when he rages, Diokbe chills, though reminding him of the golden rule. The company. It has zero right to nerf player choices. The dev tries to argue for a ban or a patch, but the boss is already walking away. As he leaves, Diokbe thinks, ain't no way. He dumped everything into that one stat and snagged the rookie title. He's surprised they called it a trash build. With no future, because in the history of VERMMOs, this guy just created the absolute worst. And simultaneously the most broken OP character ever. Back in-game, Jiwoo locks in his stats with a grin. Suddenly, the Transcendental Class God spawns in, listen up noob, this is the final tutorial step. You gotta make a choice. I'm granting you rights to one of my God-tier weapons. Jiwoo is hyped, free legendary loot. He ain't saying no, but which one to pick? Because, let's be real, they're all cracked. He thinks for a sec, reaches out and goes, gimme all of them. The divine being lags for a second, then tells the human kid, bruh, I can't do that. Greed draws a grow. Pick one. Jiwoo cuts him off. Did I stutter? Give me everything right now. Or do you want me to turn you into XP first? Everyone watching is completely shook. Back at HQ, Diokbe drops his cigarette in shock, thinking, this guy is actually mental. The class god stays silent, but a red system alert pops up, boss enraged. The god's face twists, his aggro meter hits max, and he dives straight into combat mode. Jiwoo grips his starter stick and nods. This god is clearly begging to get farmed. Fights start, a shield yeets toward him, and Jiwoo swings his twig to parry. But he gets absolutely trucked, smashed into the floor. Urus screams for his big bro, while the god actually feels bad. Damn, I one-shotted a transcendent candidate. Sag. Suddenly, boom! An energy blast from the stick melts half the god's face. From the floor, Jiwoo goes, ouch, is that it, god boy? His HP bar didn't even budge. His constitution is at 15,000 points. That stat boosts max health. Regen and debuff immunity, Urus watches, realizing our boy was crazy enough to dump every point. And into a single stat, Hyung Nim, you bricked your build. You made a literal trash character. Jiwoo just asks why. Urus explains that gear in Chrono Life has a weight requirement, guessing needing minimum strength stats. Basically, he can't equip anything but that wooden stick. Stick is all I need. Our MC replies. Right then, a system window pops up between them. It was a hidden skill, and he just met the unlock conditions. What is that? Asks Urus. The skill's healing factor. Just converted all incoming damage into HP, filling his bar instantly. Who's the trash character now? Jiwoo flexes. Urus is stunned while the class god groans with his melted face. Insignificant mortal, how dare you? He roars, shooting lasers from his eyes. Jiwoo face tanks the beam without dodging, and drops Urus rushes over. At screaming his name, but Jiwoo just starts cackling. Just as expected, this game is goated. He screams out as his entire chest cavity stitches itself back together like a glitchy respawn. Urus is visibly gagging at the sight, yelling, die already, you filthy glitchless trash! The god starts spamming combos, landing hit after hit, but Jiwoo is just face-tanking the DPS like a raid boss. His health bar blinks red for a microsecond, and instantly pings back to full. Bro definitely has infinite regen toggled on. The class god keeps button mashing, but it's a totally useless cycle of 0 DPS. But Jiwoo takes every hit without flinching, just laughing, while his health bar goes disco mode. Then he decides playtime is over. He's gonna end this speedrun right now. After all, thanks to the god, he farmed some benefits. Now it's time for the enemy to cough up those weapons. Before the god of classes rage quits existence, he drops one final curse on our boy, claiming his endless greed is going to be his downfall, like straight up game over when the bill comes due. But Jiwoo, he couldn't care less about some NPC dialogue. He preps his ult, hits the boss with a didn't ask, and launches a massive uppercut slash that connects perfectly. Critical hit on the god of classes, the system notification pops off target deleted, and suddenly the entire fabric of reality starts glitching out. The whole map shatters into a dozen fragments, like broken glass, and the system warns him that this transcendental space is about to crash hard. It's a total server wipe, forcing a mandatory teleport back to the main server, as the boss room literally starts shrinking around him. The dimension zips shut and boom, we're back in the vanilla world of Chrono Life, where a massive beam of light suddenly strikes the hill. Jiwoo sticks the superhero landing, and then jackpot. It starts raining loot. Every single transcendental weapon drops right at his feet. Since he's the new owner, the gear starts glowing and auto-equips into a special subspace inventory so he doesn't have to carry that weight. Now he can summon them anytime like a boss. Our boy grins, realizing his build just went from broken to absolutely god tier. But hold up, Sarang is absolutely fuming right now. She's tilted off the face of the earth that he made her wait this long, and no excuse is gonna save him. Suddenly she hears a noise behind her. It's Ji-woo doing a cheeky little salute and hitting her with a casual, "Yo, guess who's back?" Bam! She instantly feeds him a knuckle sandwich and follows up with a kick, screaming that he promised it would be a quick speed run. It's literally pitch black out. Ji-woo tries to apologize, claiming he got caught up in some unexpected side quests that ruined his clear time. Anyway, he's here now, but Sarang grinds her teeth and yells that she's rage quitting. Ji-woo's like, "Whoa, where you going?" She snaps that she's logging off for the night. Our MC just gives her a lazy wave goodbye, which only makes her want to strangle him even more. She holds back the urge to PK him and instead demands he be online tomorrow at 7 sharp, right when her shift ends. And if he's late again, she swears she's going to delete his character permanently. Ji-woo watches her, fade out of the server, and mutters that she really has zero chill. Then Urus pipes up asking about that other business. Ji-woo stands up and decides to call it a night too, realizing it's already past midnight, IRL, and his sleep schedule is cooked. He hits confirm on the logout prompt. Back in the real world at the login center, the staff member thanks him as he heads out. "Please come again," they say. Our boy lets out a quick yawn, thinking that today's grind was actually pretty legendary. Chrono Life is honestly top-tier content. Plus, he starts daydreaming about how much cash he could stack if he sold those transcendental weapons. Since they're world-first drops, they'd go for a ridiculous amount of money. But then he pauses. Wait, are those items even tradable? It would be a massive nerf to his wallet if he can't flip them. He spots a food stall behind him and considers buying a hot bowl of rice soup, but one look at his empty wallet and he has to abort mission. He keeps walking, totally depressed. He's so done with being broke. The monthly subscription for the game keeps hiking up the price, and he's gonna have to pick up extra shifts at his part-time job just to survive. But as he walks through the city, he suddenly freezes. He mutters to himself, remembering Urus mentioned the gear alone is worth 10 million won, and the full set could hit 100 million won. A light bulb goes off. What if he grinds in-game items and sells them for real cash? Legit RMT, realizing the potential. Wow. Ji-woo spins around and sprints straight back to the login center. Every high elo ranker in Chrono Life knows about the Forbidden Zone, the Crossroads of Life. Also known as the Tomb of Mortals, it's the highest level farming spot in the game's history, a dungeon no one has ever managed to clear. For some reason, it stayed hidden deep within the Valley of the Undead, which just happens to be Urus's turf, and where Ji-woo is standing right now. Urus, looking sharp in a butler skin, welcomes the hunter to his crib. But Ji-woo just walks past him, ignoring the pleasantries with a wicked grin, announcing that he's ready to make himself at home. Urus accepts this, telling Hyung Nim to enjoy the grind while he can. Ji-woo admits he was so tunnel-visioned on revenge before that he forgot to loot the drops. But today he's gonna speedrun the farm. Urus, being a dragon, can only think RIP to my friends. Suddenly a massive energy blast nukes the area and through the smoke. Urus's entire army spawns a growing on Ji-woo from every angle. Our boy just smiles. His days of being a broke nobody end right here. He's about to secure the bag big time. The Valley of Ghosts, the hardest raid zone in the game. It gets completely wiped in a single hit. The Turbo of Despair, Lapis of the Abyss, and Tritian of the Dawn. The 3 tankiest bosses in Urus's army deleted from existence. Just like that. With barely 2 attacks, every mob in the valley is absolutely decimated, dropping their weapons on the floor. It's raining high-tier loot Urus, and notes that the fight was over in a blink, and admits it was a solid run. But Ji-woo hesitates, saying, "Nah, we aren't done yet. This is just the tutorial." Confused Urus asks what he means, and the hunter points ominously toward the smoke. He tells him to check the respawn timers, because these mobs are popping back up instantly, like it's a glitched server. Standard trash mobs operate on a cooldown loop, but unique boss-tier enemies like that 2-headed dragon Urus, when they're deleted, they stay deleted. Ji-woo admits he's a rookie at the auction house game, so he decides to rinse and repeat this farming cycle at least 100 times. Another massive boom shakes the valley foundation, which weird segue reminds me of this legendary lecture from back in the day. So this professor at Harvard asks the class if they know Bill Gates, the ultimate tech tycoon and former richest dude on the planet. He drops this scenario. Imagine Bill Gates spots a crisp $100 bill on the pavement while walking to the office. He wouldn't even touch it. Why? Because crouching down takes like 3 seconds of animation time. In that tiny window, his passive income generates $150 a second. So stopping actually costs him money. But here in the Valley of Ghosts, the meta is completely flipped, with this mountain of loot cluttering the floor. Clearing 100 waves of mobs takes about 60 minutes of grinding, creating a literal skyscraper of items. Factor in cooldowns, and the total market value sitting in the dirt hits a staggering 15 billion won. Compare that to the Harvard stats where Gates is pulling in roughly 500 million won per hour. In one gaming session, a broke part-timer from Korea just speed ran past the hourly wage of the wealthiest man on Earth. Cut to the next day in Seoul, where a Gucci clerk is bowing 90 degrees and thanking him for dropping a bag. He walks out looking fresh to death in a fit worth over 3 million won, but he's just getting started. He cops a brand new whip and a ton of luxury gear, leaving random pedestrians shook on the sidewalk. People are whispering that they've never seen a Lamborghini IRL as Ji-woo lowers his 2 million won shades like a boss. As he peels out, he tells himself it's finally time to flex on the world, slamming the gas pedal. But wait. Seconds later, he smashes straight into a street lamp. He's screaming in panic about his 400 million won baby getting wrecked. But literally minutes later, he rolls up in a replacement car like, whatever, I'll just buy another one. Meanwhile, at Chronolife HQ, Deokbai lights a premium cigar, rubbing his bald spot in frustration, and tells his minion to continue the bad news. The employee basically says the company is cooked, and he should skip town, but Deokbai asks if they can unfreeze the transactions. He wants to get that bastard's money moving, but the dev says it's impossible now. He's raging until his phone buzzes. He picks up cursing his RNG, only to hear Ji-woo on the other line asking how life is treating him. Our MC trolls him hard, saying he's in a charitable mood and wondering if the big bad CEO needs a handout. Deokbai screams into the mic, blaming our boy for the entire collapse, while Ji-woo just plays innocent. He sarcastically wonders if something is wrong, hangs up, and then ponders what else to buy since he's already maxed out his inventory. But he feels like he's missing that final endgame achievement, that chef's kiss moment, and then it hits him. His eyes go wide, and he revs the engine, unable to believe he forgot the most crucial flex of all real estate. Standing in an insanely expensive lobby, Ji-woo laughs like a cartoon supervillain, announcing that his new penthouse is absolutely god tier. He says everyone is invited to his new base, but then remembers the classic tutorial quest for moving into a new hood. He rings the neighbor's doorbell, holding traditional rice cakes, and a girl's voice from inside asks who's at the spawn point. He replies that he's the new player on the server and brought a welcoming gift, but the girl sounds confused. She tells him to hold on, and when the door finally opens, Ji-woo flashes his best smile to introduce himself. But he glitches out completely when he sees who it is. Turns out the luxury apartment wasn't the real prize. Standing right there is Saran. They lock eyes, instantly recognizing each other from the game and chat. This is officially the highlight of the stream. While Ji-woo is living his best life back in the Valley of Ghosts, a mysterious entity pulls up on the skeleton army. Standing before Eurus's legion, this guy just raises a hand and casually wipes the entire squad without breaking a sweat. While the grunts turn into a puddle of gore, the 3 strongest elite commanders of the army rush forward. They charge him, screaming about arrogant humans, but the mystery figure just calls them brain-dead idiots. He asks why they don't recognize their own master before unleashing 3 massive spikes from his back. In a single frame, the elites get skewered and deleted, and then this monster starts absorbing their data. He drains them like a giant leech, sending the rest of the mobs into full panic mode, while he just stands there menacingly. He decides everything needs to die, and since he absorbed them, those elite commanders are gone for good, no respawns allowed. A system window pops up, confirming he just stole all their levels, and stats talk about overpowered. The data for Eurus's top-tier warriors, deleted, gone. The beast just stared at the empty space, cold as a server crash. He's gritting his teeth hard enough to break them, flashing back to that massive L when he lost head number 1 and went spiritual mode. He's wondering where the other piece of him went. And boom, plot twist. The identity reveal drops. It's the lost head of Urus. This thing is basically a delete humanity button named Hurricane. But hold up, cut to the most famous idol in the game. Enter Han Sarang aka Love in Chrono Life. Our boy Ji-woo is absolutely shook, thinking this is his first time meeting royalty IRL. She thanks Captain Love, promising to devour the food like a raid boss, and he's just staring brain buffering. Then it clicks, that's the queen herself, Han Sarong, and he totally failed the vibe check earlier. The door shuts, she walks in and her big sis asks about the loot. Just some rice cakes from the neighbor? She shrugs. She gives the wall a side eye, like, wait, is that guy sus? But shakes it off and tells her sister to dig in. Sis says thanks, totally clueless. See, their in-game skins are so heavy on the cosmetics that they don't recognize each other, IRL. It's like comparing a cinematic trailer to actual gameplay. Anyway, Sis goes full mom mode. Hurry up and change your uniform. Sarang is not having it. Chill. I've been home for like 29 minutes. Let me breathe. Big Sis hits her with the fine delay it, but admits she wants to wrap up work so she can log in and grind. Suddenly, Sarang remembers she's got an in-game date speedrun mode activated. She's changing instantly. Her sister's grinning like she knows the tea convinced our girl found a player 2 in the game. She's betting the guy must be top-tier husbando material to pull an idol like that. Meanwhile, Ji-woo is looking around the map like, yo, where's the XP at? Did the mobs rage quit? Urs shuts that down. Mobs are code-bound to their zones. They can't just disconnect from the server. It's like they just glitched out of existence. Our EMC shrugs whatever, there are plenty of other farming spots to make bank. Time is money, literally. Urus pings him about the meetup with that human, and yeah, the clock is ticking. Since this farming run was a total bust, they decide to bounce early and head to the rendezvous point. MC complains the spawn point is miles away, but Urus freezes looking back. Something feels off. It's a vibe that's familiar, but super toxic. Meanwhile, check out Elrose, this massive level 190 snow snake boss. She is getting absolutely drained by Urukan. Her HP bar is melting, stats dropping to 0 in real time. The dragon's drooling like a starving beast, but this XP isn't enough to one-shot the human he hates. He needs more power. Suddenly, the goddess of life drops in with those S-tier angel wings, confused how he leveled up this much. She calls him her greedy son, and whoa, he literally impales her with a spine spike mid-sentence. She's shocked, but he just calls her a snack and starts draining her divine energy. She begs for a pause button, but nope, she gets vacuumed up until there's nothing left but floor textures. But hold up. System error, absorption failed. She respawns, instantly wagging her finger like, you're in trouble, mister. She's treating this attempted murder like a teenage temper tantrum. Is this your rebellious phase? She jokes. Urukan's brain is buffering. He knows he ate her. Is this lag? Are these illusion hacks? She brushes it off, and the dragon realizes she's an invalid target. He literally can't process her as food. He demands to know what she is since they share the same scent. She just points to a city in the distance. Look over there, she says. Unlimited buffet. Go gorge yourself. The dragon starts drooling immediately. She's smiling that creepy manipulator smile as he goes berserk with hunger wings spreading wide. In a total trance, he roars his mission statement, I am Urukan and I'm here to delete humanity. He flies off and crash lands on a skyscraper in the city. The randoms below are like, is that a new event, boss? Boom. No warning. A spike impales a dude right in the chest, draining him dry in front of his e-girlfriend. She's screaming total meltdown, but then everyone else gets skewered by these spikes. It's a massacre. He's vacuuming up their stats and levels with this nasty, twisted look on his face. They're just XP packs to him now. The starter village, usually a chill spot for noobs and pros. Wiped, deleted. Meanwhile, at the Chronolife HQ, an employee busts through the door in a panic. Boss, we have a code red. The support lines are blowing up total meltdown mode. Emails, calls, live streams. Everyone is raging. The support team is absolutely cooked. The dev team was straight up frozen, checking the logs and begging everyone to chill, while a monster was literally spawn camping a player. Getting your character deleted, that is totally out of pocket, and Diokbai was not having it, clapping back with pure sarcasm. He demanded to know if Urukan had spawned, and if everyone thought this griefing was a joke, while the employee was just stammering, asking how this glitch even happened. Diokbai shut him down and ordered them to spectate only 2 targets from now on. First up, Urukan in the burning city. The dragon was standing there like an NPC, while the goddess of life was absolutely shook, admitting she never expected. He'd devour the entire lobby and turn the city into a graveyard in one tick. Meanwhile, Urukan was still drooling like a starving beast. He complained that his hunger bar wasn't full and demanded the coordinates for more prey, but but the goddess claimed she didn't know where the next meal was. Then she hit him with a creepy smile, saying she actually knew a spot in a different direction that would be a legendary feast for him to absorb. Cut to the forest at 1934, where Sarang was literally shaking with rage, replaying the conversation in her head. She swore she told that scumbag she'd end his subscription if he was late, but as she glanced to the side, thinking he was lagging behind, she realized Urukan had already spawned right behind her back. This girl was just a level 24 fighter, while that psycho Urukan was sitting at a game-breaking level 999. Over in the player city, Hawkeye was walking around totally salty. This guy used to be the supreme commander of the 5-guild alliance. He was a top-tier ranker in Chrono Life with maxed-out charisma and insane riz, getting featured in YouTube interviews and newspapers like a celebrity. But after Judgment Day hit the server, the World Union Guild disbanded, and Hawkeye, the former big boss, fell off hard after taking the L for everything. He kept reminding himself who he was, looking back at the title he used to flex in the World Guild. Everything was once beneath him, and he wondered if the haters really thought he would just rage quit and disappear, just as a massive explosion rocked the map, and players started screaming that a monster had spawned in the safe zone. Right in the central plaza, which is supposed to be a safe zone, Hawkeye witnessed something glitch-level crazy as multiple players just got deleted from existence. He camped in a hiding spot, watching the scene, and asking himself what kind of hack that was. That was way across the line. The goddess of life clocked him, but kept smiling while the town got griefed. The destruction didn't stop until they both started levitating and flew off, while Hawkeye watched the whole thing with his system UI open. Thinking about the forums, he suddenly started laughing like he'd completely lost his mind. Meanwhile, the monster facing Sarang made her jump. She thought, no shot, this guy is a player. Do mobs like this even spawn in the beginner hills? The goddess popped up saying, "Nice to meet you, Captain Love." Sarang was confused, asking, "Wait, you know underwear? He's the only one who calls me that," she snapped, almost throwing hands. "And why did you give your avatar such a cursed skin?" Luna asked if they were close, and Sarang replied, "For now, I just wanted to troll him a bit. I don't even like the guy, but he's glued to me like an NPC companion." The goddess's expression went dark for a split second, but she quickly forced a fake smile back onto her face. Before facing the Hollyson Guild, Luna was already tilted because Ji-woo had been chatting up Captain Love. "You are actually so annoying," the goddess said. Sarang was totally lost, asking what is that supposed to mean? But before she could even proc a reaction, she got skewered by spikes and launched into the air by Urukin's attack. As her HP bar dropped straight to 0, Luna iced her out, saying, "Please go to hell. You were totally overrated." Sarang's body hit the floor and despawned, leaving behind only the scarf she was wearing. Rukan absorbed her stats and levels, moaning, "Delicious." Luna replied, "What a feast, right? She was part of a goddess after all." Urukan looked confused, but the goddess just walked over to the scarf lying on the ground. "Whatever, don't worry about it," she said, literally stepping on the scarf like it was trash, proposing they go farm some more high-tier snacks. But Ji-woo interrupted, demanding to know where those sickos thought they were going. They both spun around and came face to face, with his furious expression. The goddess cracked a smile, saying it's been a while, and asking how Ji-woo is doing. But he screamed at her to shut up, warning her to get her dirty pig hoof off that scarf, unless she wanted to get deleted again. The goddess looked down at the scarf she was stomping on, and stepped back, apologizing, and claiming it was just a little accident. Ji-woo gave her the coldest stare, then turned to Urukin, calling him a human with tentacles. He warned him that the beatdown starts right now. Ji-woo raised his staff high, unleashing a power spike more insane than anything we've ever seen. The dragon's face lit up for a split second, and then everything in that direction got completely deleted. The energy blast pierced the planet's atmosphere and just kept going. As we cruise through the galaxy and the smoke clears, our boy Ji-woo is still standing tall, absolute unit, saying he'll let that woman slide just this once. Then he tells the roach to scatter before he gets squashed, while Luna is tripping out, wondering how a bug could possibly have visual stats as high as hers. She tells him to quit flexing for the camera since he can't kill her anyway, and to finish the main quest first, because the boss is literally staring him down. Ji-woo checks the radar and spots Urukan coming in hot at Mach 10, while Luna drops a bombshell, calling that thing "my son," as the dragon charges a claw swipe. He gets smacked with a power blast so hard it triggers a massive explosion effect, and Urus is screaming his lungs out for his bro Ji-woo, thinking it's game over. But hold up. Our MC is still on his feet, barely phased, just saying, "Whoa, that actually surprised me, confused why Urukan isn't deleted yet." Even after tanking that nuke, Eurus asks if he's good, and the protagonist just nods, while his HP bar fills back up to max instantly. Urukan asks why he's shook, claiming he could easily sidestep that trash attack, saying the hit didn't even clip his hitbox. Jiwoo gives him the death stare and goes, "Oh, you dodged bet. Next one's gonna hurt," while Urukan calls Cap, saying that was a nasty bluff. Then he asks if Jiwoo is seriously implying that last move wasn't his ult at full power. Our boy confirms at dropping the flex that everything up to this point was just basic auto attacks. Right after saying that he unleashes this insane aura that has Urukan looking absolutely cooked with fear as Jiwoo starts channeling straight mana. It's pumping from his chest as he procs the novice spirit swordsman master's skill, revealing he was nerfing himself to one ability this whole time. He turns to Urukan, calls him a roach spawn, and warns him that he's about to pop a real skill for the first time ever. He tells him if this lands, it's critical damage, so he better sweat while trying to dodge, and Jiwoo grips his staff like he means business. With max strength, he orders the system to cast Continuous Cut, and the slash is so OP it literally flies off the planet's surface. It's heading straight for Saturn, and every second it travels, memories of Sarang flood his brain, maxing out his rage meter. The impact looks like it totally deleted Urukan's file from the server before continuing on to drill a hole straight through Saturn. At first, the planet tries to tank the shockwaves, but then it lights up like a Christmas tree and goes boom. We're talking destruction on a planetary scale, chat, and that was just Continuous Cut, literally the most basic skill in the swordsman tree. Meanwhile, a live stream is loading up somewhere else, and Hawkeye pops up on screen, introducing himself like he's the main character. He claims he's the Supreme Commander of the World Union, but the chat instantly roasts him, calling him a loser and spamming F to end the stream. But ironically, the viewer count keeps spiking, people are clicking just to join the mob and threaten this guy. Streamer mode is a feature in Chrono Life that lets you broadcast gameplay live, and technically any rando can use it. It got disabled during Judgment Day to keep the mission stealthy, which is why the wanted player's identity never got leaked. Hawkeye says he's skipping the intro and getting straight to the T, 1 player versus 3 million. In reality, that shouldn't be possible. He mentions checking the devlogs where the company denied it was a bug or a hacker, but the math just isn't mathing. He's not buying it though, accusing the devs of treating the player base like trash and demanding a full investigation. There's chaos in the forums about a monster permabanning characters instantly, so he calls out to everyone who got deleted. He wants the victims to hop in his stream because he's about to do a live manhunt for this beast. He promises to expose the devs and leak the truth about this corrupt company today, then suddenly pauses and completely switches his vibe. He asks everyone to smash that subscribe button and hit the bell, classic YouTuber behavior, but back on the battlefield. The smoke clears out and Jiwoo is still standing there with 0 damage taken, letting out a sigh and looking genuinely shocked. He admits Urukan is cracked for surviving, that Jiwoo can't believe the guy dodged a one-shot kill, and wonders what cheat code he used. The monster is still kicking, but his HP is critical. He introduces himself formally as Urukan, stating his only goal is to wipe humanity off the map. Drop the lore, he reveals he's the strongest boss, the lost head of Eurus. And Eurus is like, yeah, I knew it. That familiar vibe he felt earlier wasn't just lag in his brain, and he begs Hyung Neem to watch his back. Because that scumbag might be the reason all the mobs in the Valley of Ghosts went missing. Captain Love getting deleted earlier, definitely this guy's fault. While Jiwoo is downloading this new info, Rukan watches them chat from a distance, spamming the "I'm gonna kill you" line before launching another claw attack. Jiwoo asks if he's actually serious, remembering how Love's character got wiped from existence. Just then, Urukan rushes him, but our MC blocks the hit by casually tapping the monster's head with his staff. He activates a non-lethal attack, triggering a massive boom that shakes the whole zone, and Hawkeye starts sprinting toward the fight. He's screaming for everyone to stay frosty while he tries to get a better camera angle, and Jiwoo spins his staff, slamming it right into Urukan's gut. Another non-lethal hit. It causes another huge detonation, and Urukan is spitting blood and growling, clearly feeling that nerf. Still, he pushes the lane. Jiwoo isn't just poking, he's winding up a burst attack, firing off a whole clip of energy blasts. Every shot registers on the monster's hitbox as he spams the attack, triggering a massive screen-wiping explosion. Urukan coughs up blood. Meanwhile, Hawkeye is camping under a tree watching the event while the other players are totally confused. They're wondering who's carrying this high-level raid, though some feel like they've seen this player's skin before. Hawkeye is absolutely shook though. The smoke clears and Jiwoo's identity is leaked to the whole server. It's the poster guy. Everyone is stunned. This is the dude who supposedly speedran the apocalypse. Hawkeye gets flashbacks to getting wrecked, convinced this griefing scumbag is the reason for everything. He can't believe Ren just spawned his worst enemy right here. No hesitation. He raises his bow to snipe Jiwoo. The arrow flies, but instead of a headshot, it just chips Urikan's horn. Did he miss the skill shot? Everyone's like, what was that? Then chat blows up. Someone says they got their account back. More reports flooding in. Hawkeye is in denial, thinking no way, but the stolen souls are actually refunding to their owners. They're back with nerfed stats though. Urakan is covered in wounds and his level crashes all the way to 723. Jiwoo is confused by the lag spike he was dodging easily, but now he realizes the boss has a massive slow debuff. Urus drops the lore. All the energy that Scumbag farmed is flowing back to the original players. Back at the dev team HQ, a team lead is sweating bullets, finally understanding the server mechanics. He says the save data wasn't deleted. It was just migrated to Urakan's horns, like an external hard drive. Diokbai is stunned, asking how a dev could be so clueless about the game's code. The employee admits he was just the design lead, graphics only, back in the fight. Jiwoo smirks. For real, if I solo this boss I unlock the Captain Love Rescue achievement too. That name triggers Urakan. He grinds his teeth and charges, screaming that Jiwoo is just low-level fodder. Jiwoo claps back with a combo using his non-lethal skill. The hits land flush, dealing massive critical damage. System alert, another soul returned. Urakan's levels take another massive nosedive. He's down to level 389. On Hawkeye's stream, the view count is going to the moon. Chat is spamming that this guy caused the apocalypse, a total PKER, but now he's restoring everyone's characters. Thanks to him, Hawkeye just stands there gaping, lowers his bow, and decides not to grief the MC. In her attic, Sarang is watching the stream on her phone, already decked out in her cosplay. The chat is spamming W's for Jiwoo. Sarang watches mouth open, remembering when he begged her for a carry. She thinks about his glow-up. Back in the game, the smoke from the attack is rendering out. Rakan is kneeling, totally wrecked by the non-lethal hits. His stats are absolutely cooked. He's basically a level 180 noob. Jiwoo rushes in, and Urus notices the enemy's mana is gone. He's reverting to his base form. Jiwoo's like, don't care, just wondering how to execute the finisher. Rakan is drooling, lagging out, mumbling his name, when suddenly he throws one last cheap shot. A spike impales our protagonist. Direct hit. The whole stream chat is absolutely horrified. Urus's jaw hits the floor while Urakan roars in victory, screaming, he's a boss, destined to wipe humanity. He starts leeching Jiwoo's levels like a vampire. It's a total XP drain. Uri screams for his Hyung Nim while the protagonist gets literally split in half. Urakan keeps sucking up X. Jiwoo's remains drop like loot, and the monster's horn regenerates. Then the beast bursts out laughing, shouting that the food is top tier, best he's ever tasted. He calls it a 5-star meal. His level shoots up to 999. But Urakan yells it's not enough. His hunger is infinite. He is Urakan the glutton. Yuri walks up to the body. He kneels, crying and calling for his big bro. Suddenly, a hidden passive skill activates. Secret skill healing factor. The damage starts reversing. Urakan feels something massive expanding in his gut. He starts agonizing as his belly cracks open and a face stretches out from inside the monster. It gives him a cold stare and smiles. Urakan is absolutely terrified by this creature. The monster screams in agony while our MC just laughs at the whole situation. Dokebi's cigar ash hits the deck, looking absolutely vile. But we've got eyes in the sky. Luna is watching everything from above. She is completely shook, but Jiwoo, he's unleashing this creepy as hell laugh, straight up saying, this is peak entertainment. He roasts Urukan, calling him a literal worm. Urus can't believe his eyes, but the MC is like, yeah, it's really me. Urukan is tilting hard, grinding his teeth and screaming that Jiwoo is the destroyer glitch meant to wipe out humanity. He tries to flex his glutton title, but nope, silence. Jiwoo literally starts absorbing the guy's stomach mid-rant. He's hijacking the biomass to rebuild his own avatar. Urus jumps back while Urukan just whines in agony, getting drained like a juice box. Jiwoo touches down fully transformed and looking crisp. That buffed healing factor, it's instantly patching every single glitch and scratch. With the region passive active, every single stolen cell came rushing back to its rightful owner. Our boy's confused though, like what was the point? Most of his code had already merged with that monster Urukon. He was basically downgraded to a mere organ inside the boss's body. However, plot twist incoming. The process reversed. The healing factor swallowed Urukan whole, and Jiwoo just spits him out with a casual burp, disrespectful. Boom, hidden skill unlocked gluttony. Now he can devour enemies to steal their levels and stats. Luna chimes in, asking if the show's over. She admits it wasn't the script she expected, but hey, the entertainment value was high. Jiwoo clocks her vibe. She's way too cheerful considering he just deleted her son from existence. She waves it off, explaining the guy was evil trash anyway, and the son thing, purely metaphorical, she didn't actually birth him. She drops the fact she's 21, same age as our MC. Jiwoo is startled she knows his stats, but she completely ignores his question. Luna just summons her staff, nudges him aside, flashes one last playful smile, and rips open a dimension portal, dropping a rhetorical bomb. Who knows? Suddenly massive claws tear through the rift. It's the hand of some eldritch horror, leaving Jiwoo absolutely frozen. Luna hops onto that monster hand like it's an Uber waves goodbye and hits him with one final nickname. Mr. Loser? Meanwhile, back at HQ, Dokebi's cigar falls out of his mouth. He barks orders to handle the mess, telling them to post a bounty event immediately and keep eyes on the target he flagged. He admits the Urukan drama was top-tier content, but drops a new directive moving forward. Surveillance is now locked on just 2 players, the guy who absorbed Urukan and Luna. Back in the game world, the village players are throwing their hands up, worshipping Jiwoo's play and screaming that he's a certified hero. Dudes are even blowing trumpets calling every noob in the starter village to come simp for the game's savior. Jiwoo facepalms hard, acting all dramatic. He's wondering which snitch leaked his power level. His stealth run is officially cooked. Hawkeye's stream just peaked at 235,000 viewers. Clips are going viral all over YouTube. But amidst the hype, some elf guy screams for everyone to cut the crap, yelling that this dude is no hero. He accuses Jiwoo of being a mass murderer who wiped out, get this, 3 million players in a speed run, calling the most wanted criminal a hero. Total madness. Hawkeye, however, cuts him off. He asks, isn't taking a player's life just deleting a character? He tells the elf to stop yapping. With just that one stream, Hawkeye instantly became a top-tier influencer. Honestly, he's the one farming the most clout from this disaster. Then someone suggests that, since our boy is a solo player, he should join the Justice Guild. Suddenly, everyone is begging the hero, trying to recruit him, promising the VIP treatment. Jiwoo gets spooked by the sudden mob of fanboys, and he bolts away from the recruiters. Urus cracks a joke saying Hyungnim has become a celebrity and should have stopped smurfing ages ago. Like, why all the mystery? Jiwoo tells him to zip it, but then bonk. He smacks his head on a golden statue, stumbles back and yells, "What the hell is this?" He's staring face to face with a full-body golden statue of himself. Both of them look absolutely horrified. Jiwoo asks what it is, literally praying, "Please don't let that be me." But Urus confirms the cringe it is him. Then Wong pops up from behind like, "Yo, you dig the statue?" He walks out with his guild, and I kid you not, they're all wearing nothing but underwear and capes. He says it was worth dropping a fortune on this tribute. He loved the performance and confirms that Jiwoo is in fact him. Won asks if he's the guy who triggered the apocalypse, explaining that ever since that day, he was so hyped he commissioned the statue. Jiwoo denies it, totally confused by this weirdo's reaction. "Yo, I had to ask, why is the whole village flashing their underwear? It's a mess." The Prez claims they sold literally everything they owned just to build that statue. He says that pile of rocks cost over 2 billion gold. But before I can roast him for it, the villagers start screaming. They spotted our boy. Jiwoo nopes out of there, sprinting away and telling the old guy to quit chasing him. Meanwhile, cut to Han Sarong chilling in her attic. She's slumped on the bee, head down, replaying the whole raid in her mind. And suddenly, the math is finally mathing for her. Like how those mobs got deleted the second she blinked, and that bear rabbit getting one-shotted. That wasn't luck, fam. Even her stolen gear, those gauntlets the Allison Guild swiped our MC, definitely speedran a retrieval quest, just to give them back to her. But she's spiraling. Why did he play the total noob card? Why lie? Is he smurfing, or just messing with her head? Then the trauma hits. She's getting flashbacks to being a kid staring in horror at her teddy bear ripped apart on the floor in front of her dad. She's having a full-on meltdown, shaking with fear, realizing she got played while fumbling to rip her glasses off. She eventually puts the specs back on, still trembling. Jump cut to the Game City. Jiwoo looks absolutely drained, running on zero energy. He's like, finally the fanboys chilled out. Suffering from success is real, guys. Being famous is a massive stamina drain. But Wooloo hits him with a reality check. Everyone is still staring. That's when our boy gets that weird tingling sensation. He feels like he forgot a major quest item or something. It's bugging him, but his brain is buffering. He can't pinpoint it. Boom! Han Sarang spawns right in front of him. Jiwoo's like, oh look who finally logged back in. He hits her with the smooth line, no wonder I felt incomplete, my player 2 was missing. Riz level, over 9,000. Chat is confused though. The crowd is whispering, who's the girl Lero is talking to? Nobody recognizes her avatar. First time seeing her yet? She gives off familiar vibes. Jiwoo suddenly remembers the loot. Here, this is for you. He wraps the scarf around her neck like a K-drama lead, bragging that he got it as a drop from the Urukan boss fight. Wait, scratch that? He backpedals hard. I just found it in the trash. Tsundere mode activated. That lie just triggers her rage meter. She's shaking, snapping back. Don't make me laugh with that garbage. Why are you capping? She screams. Jiwoo plays dumb. Who me, I never lie. She's vibrating with anger now. Teeth clenched, anxiety spiking, she finally drops the bomb. Hey, underwear guy. You're that dude who delivered rice cakes to my crib. Jiwoo is totally lost, thinking she's glitching out. Then it clicks. Flashback to the IRL delivery quest. His brain finally renders the memory. He's absolutely shook, jaw on the floor. No way. Captain Love is actually Han Sarang. She confirms it while the whole server watches the drama. Yeah, that's my real-life skin, deal with it. Turns out Sarang just wanted to sing without the fame buff. But her manager Sis is losing it. Are you actually throwing? You can't just leak your own identity to the whole crowd. Is your brain completely AFK? It's a disaster. She's already trending #1 globally. Journalists are spamming for interviews like it's a raid boss event. And you made your avatar look exactly like your real face. Did you even read the character creation guide? Customization is supposed to be for masking up, but in this VR setup, the law says no catfishing, you gotta scan your real face. Sis is yelling, you could have at least changed the hair. It's a miracle you weren't doxxed to day one. Honestly, she's got a point that was risky. Sarang claps back, who cares, I wasn't smurfing anyway. Is gaming a crime now or what? I play for the XP and the vibes. Why care about haters? But Sis cuts deep, it's because I'm scared. And scared your real personality will leak. You've been role-playing a perfect idol for the whole country, remember? That triggers the boss music. Sarang screams, I never wanted to act fake. You forced that build on me. I told you day one I hate lying to chat. Deceiving my fans is trash tier behavior and I hate it. She rage quits the conversation, slamming the door. Sis is just standing there grumbling. She's so tilted, what a brat. Sarang grabs her VR headset and equips it instantly. System boots up, green lights on. Iris scan locked. Her shaking finally stops as she starts the login sequence. Authentication complete. Welcome to Chrono Life. Flashback time, we see little Sarang in a schoolyard. She's humming that classic banger about the mountain spring rabbit. Super wholesome content. Rabbit wakes up, skips the face wash, and just drinks. That's when she unlocked her hidden skill. A music mastery she debuted at level 5. A literal prodigy since kindergarten, guys. Chat, they called her a goddess, a literal reincarnation. Her debut wasn't just big, it was a server-crashing event. But you know the devs love a tragedy arc. Just when her flower was about to bloom, RNG screwed her over. She got stomped on by those suit-wearing corporate vampires and the very people who were supposed to be her tanks. I'm talking about her own spawn points, her parents. And obviously it was all for the loot, classic industry toxicity. It wrecked this poor kid's life like she was an NPC in some low-budget melodrama. Just like that Han Sarang was farming XP non-stop. Music shows grind after grind. Interviews, variety shows, endless ad shoots, they were draining her stamina bar to 0. How did she tank a schedule that would break a max-level adult? Ironically, she did it for her parents. Those toxic raid leaders kept asking, what's the problem? Telling her to get good even when she was crying in the lobby. Our girl forced a nervous smile, but her HP was flashing red. She was hitting her limit fast. Cut to the end-of-year special event, peak viewer count, everyone watching. She's queuing up for the ultimate ult under insane pressure at the climax of the show. And then lag spike. She collapses, puking right on the stage while the audience watches in horror. She starts coughing like crazy, spamming calls to her parents for help, but they went AFK on her. Instead of helping, they face-palmed in rage, seeing that it sent her panic meter through the roof. That moment left a permanent debuff on her soul. Now we see her chilling in a green field. Han Sarang's contemplating her playthrough when she remembers our MC equipping a scarf on her. She clutches it instinctively. Suddenly, Ji-woo spawns in saying he finally tracked her down. She spins around shook. Our boy explains he followed a gut-feeling pure instinct stat. That intuition led him right to her spawn point. He asks why she disconnected so suddenly. He admits he was actually worried, and her response she tells him to log off and get lost. Ji-woo is totally confused by the aggro. Urus chimes in from the chat saying she's definitely tilted. Big Bro didn't get it. She's furious because he was smurfing and hiding his true power level. What a noob. Ji-woo asks for a walkthrough and Urus says, "Just apologize, bro. Lying is bad manners." Our MC clears his throat awkward and drops the apology. He says he didn't mean to scam her. He planned to reveal his stats eventually, but the timing was always trash. Han Sarang grips that scarf tight. She stands up and asks if he really thinks a simple "my bad" is going to patch this bug, especially after he lied with 0 cooldown. Ji-woo asks what she means, but his confusion turns to instant panic. A literal griffin dive bombs from the sky and snatches her up. Ji-woo screams her name, desperate. As the mob flies off, a rider asks if his grapple was too rough. He didn't want her to faint. Meanwhile, Urus is shook he recognizes this guy immediately. Ji-woo rages screaming, "Who's this griefer?" demanding she be returned. The guy ironically apologizes to Mr. Hero. He explains some VIPs want to meet Miss Han Sarang, so he's permanently borrowing her. Our MC curses him out and unzips his weapon inventory. Urus screams a warning at his big bro. Don't rush in. That guy's level is insane, but Ji-woo, he ignores the shot calling. Ji-woo unleashes a massive uppercut, firing a beam of pure energy straight at the Griffin Rider. But the kidnapper isn't impressed. He literally sighs, looks at his cooldowns, and activates his signature ability, 8 visions and 8 mirrors. He triggers the 5th vision reflection and hits our boy with the ultimate Uno reverse card. He sends the attack flying straight back at Ji-woo while our MC is still locked in his casting animation. His own ult reflects back and hits him. He's stunned. The impact is critical. The blast wipes the map shockwave, hitting the stratosphere. Everything to Ji-woo's right deleted, including his own arm. Big yikes. Urus is screaming, asking if his big bro is still alive. MC took critical damage, but his regen stats kick in instantly. A new arm spawns right there, like it was nothing. Ji-woo looks up full rage mode. Urus asks, "Do you see now that ain't a human?" His name is Jabayak, and he's an entity just like me. Ji-woo hits him with a question. If he's like you, shouldn't he be mid? Suddenly Jabayak's mirror shatters. He's totally shook. But then a grin creeps across his face, and he starts glazing our boy Ji-woo, admitting he's the first player to crack his defense since that mystery character. Achievement unlocked, right? But then he switches up saying, a basic human has 0 business holding a literal god fragment. Talk about gatekeeping. Meanwhile, in a hidden tower over in the western forest, Han Sarang respawns and immediately dashes backwards screaming about what the actual heck is going on. She's spiraling, asking who this guy is and why she got teleported here. But Habayek tells her to chill out and trust the process. He promises 0 damage will come to her, claiming there are some VIPs who really want to meet up with Miss Han. Sarang, she asks, who could possibly want that? But then 2 figures step into the light, and Sarang is absolutely shook, stumbling back on pure instinct, like she just saw a ghost. Her face is frozen in terror because she recognizes them instantly. It's her mom and dad, and suddenly the trauma from that stage incident comes flooding back. Her parents had been hiding their faces since that cursed day, and Sarang had tried to speedrun her retirement from the idol industry. She wanted out of the singer life, but her mom wasn't having it and refused to let her quit, literally slapping her across the face to reset her attitude. These so-called parents denied her retirement and forced her back into the spotlight, her mom asking with 0 shame if she didn't realize they were doing it all for love. Talk about gaslighting. So for years, our girl was trapped in a loop, unable to quit. But when the cash flow stopped during that incident with her dad, that left Sarang traumatized, everything went south. They crossed a line you can't come back from. These people don't deserve the title of parents. They literally sold out their only daughter for clout and cash. It was a miracle Sarang managed to glitch out of there, and the only safe zone she could reach after escaping. Was the police station finally liberating herself from years of living in actual hell on Earth? And the court came in clutch. Dropping a restraining order on her parents, they tried to appeal it like desperate losers, but obviously took the L. Thanks to the law buff, she was finally free from their grasp. But after enduring that much emotional damage, Han Sarong was mentally cooked. The girl was carrying extreme trauma related to all the lies and deception. She became a total shut-in, never leaving her room, and her only escape from reality was grinding in online games. Spending all her time alone in the dark, her vision got nerfed hard, and she had to start equipping glasses. Because of the PTSD from those days, she still gets major anxiety. ISRL, if she unequips her glasses, it's a serious debuff for her. We'll cover the day she finally logged back into the real world later, but back to the present. Sarong is facing her parents. She's shaking with pure fear, asking about the restraining order, and they casually reply they logged into the game, after seeing a news article leaking that she played Chrono Life, saying even with that info, it would have been nearly impossible to track her down solo, but luckily someone carried them this time. Havayek just waves goodbye, saying he's gonna go AFK for a bit so they can chat privately, and just vanishes from the spot instantly. Sarang's mom says she's leveled up so much, claiming they only saw her on TV, but it feels so good to see her. Even if it is in VR, then she starts playing the victim about how cruel the world is for using the law to separate a family, talking about injustice like she's the victim. Han Sarong starts spiraling, grinding her teeth in agony, asking what they want, and if it's nothing, she threatens to just log out right now, but her mom starts screaming that they are super sorry, claiming they've wanted to apologize for ages, and admitting they went too hardcore that day, asking if Sarong could possibly forgive them, because they want to live that happy family life again. Like the old days, meanwhile, Havayek is strolling outside the tower. His griffin suddenly stands up, because Jiwoo pulled up right behind him. Havayek says, this map location was supposed to be a secret, but guesses Urus guided him. Here he tries to start a monologue, but Jiwoo tells him to shut his mouth. Jiwoo declares he's ready for round 2, and even if he wins, he's only gonna feel better after he gets some sweet revenge. Havayek sighs, snapping his fingers like there's no other option. His griffin starts roaring and flies straight at the duo. Jiwoo asks if the bird is the first boss, but gets shook when he sees it's not just one, but 2. Griffins now didn't expect that spawn. He rubs his eyes, thinking his graphics are glitching at the multiplying birds, wondering if someone is copy-pasting enemies right now. It's total madness. Havayek uses his 4th vision called photocopy, and suddenly tens of thousands of griffins rush Jiwoo. He wonders what the hell is this mechanic, as he swings his staff, triggering a massive explosion that wipes everything in the area. But the debris just floats in the air, and suddenly more griffins start spawning from the rubble. It's a literal nightmare loop. Jiwoo asks who this guy is, and Urus explains that photocopy is the 4th skill of the mirror. Believed by Havayek, he warns our boy to be careful, because the full mirror ability is called 8 visions. It's super complex. Jiwoo says it's the first time he's hearing this. Lore. Urus explains there are 8 mirrors, and every tier from the 1st to the 8th vision has a different status effect, like the one he used before was reflection. This shield is straight up cheating, reflecting every single physical and magic attack. Our boy Jiwoo is complaining that this build is broken, and the devs seriously need to patch it. Urus looks at him like he's lost the plot, finding the whole rant absurd. Talking about game balance right now is totally pointless. The company never planned to balance this chaos anyway, because Havayek isn't some random user grinding XP. He's a raid boss that needs to be defeated, while the villain just stares silently. Jiwoo makes a sarcastic comment about how fun this game is. A boss walking around acting like a human. He wonders what kind of animal dev came up with that brilliant idea. But he gets interrupted when a griffin jumps him from behind. Caught lacking, Jiwoo coughs up blood. Immediately, the other griffin starts spamming fireballs straight at the protagonist, but despite the heavy damage, Jiwoo stays standing. He grumbles about the jump scare. You scared me for a sec, then gets up with his staff ready. He uses his continuous cut skill, and the griffins in front of him start fading away. Havayek just sighs. The villain says it's useless. No matter how many he defeats, he can just copy-paste as many as he wants with photocopy. Fresh griffins spawn in to replace the old ones, growling at the MC. Jiwoo asks if he's serious and realizes to win this, he has to smash that mirror. Havayek just keeps that evil grin on his face, while Jiwoo uses cut. Continuously again wiping out every creature, but as soon as they respawn, he unleashes another combo barrage. After repeating this about a dozen times, the planet Earth starts glowing with beams of light. The ground trembles with every continuous cut, and finally the mirror cracks a little bit. Habaek is totally shook, wondering who this guy is. Jiwoo just points his staff at him. He asks if it's finally cracking, saying he heard Habaek was like Urus, which means he's a total weakling and a nobody. Habaek claps back that he isn't weak. Jiwoo is the one who's abnormal. He didn't expect such OP power. Jiwoo tells him to wipe that smile off his face because he looks like a cockroach. So gross. Then he demands an answer, unless the guy wants to go to hell. Why did he kidnap Captain Amor? And what does peace of a god mean? Habaek isn't sure if he should answer, so Jiwoo asks if he prefers to lose his life. He warns him to stay still, but Habaek notes the mirror is almost broken and decides to use it one last time. Something approaches from behind. Jiwoo wonders if it's another bird head, but he's surprised to see who it is. What a surprise. A perfect copy of himself is standing there holding the staff. Replicated perfectly right down to his underwear, Jiwoo looks stunned, wondering if that's his own opponent. The duplicate copies its target like a mirror image, lifting its staff to use reverse continuous cut. The barrage of slashes flies straight at him. Jiwoo simply shows a grim look of acceptance and lets the attack hit him. His health points start dropping, down to 0. Everything in the zone explodes. Habaek watches the fight from a distance. He comments that it's incredible. If he had known, he would have copied Jiwoo instead of the griffin. Urus calls out to Habaek, demanding his purpose. Habaek greets the dragon, saying, "It's been a long time." He apologizes for not visiting sooner since he was busy, then comments that Urus looks much cuter than before. Urus tells him to stop changing the subject. What does he want appearing in front of Big Bro? And did that person send him? Habaek calls Urus by name and asks if he can pinch his cheeks just once. The dragon calls him a piece of trash. Suddenly, something on the ground starts growing flesh chunks. They twist quickly, taking on a sinister shape. Habaek asks what it is, while Urus wonders if it's all starting again. The healing factor activates and Jiwoo's health is restored completely. He moves forward fully recovered, but his body is still twisting like a horror movie character. Suddenly, the new figure calls out to Habaek, startling the villain. The copy of Jiwoo appears behind him. Jiwoo turns around. "There you are, you damn imposter." The copy just looks at him silently. Urus comments, "The clone looks even more fake than the original," but Jiwoo tells the dragon to shut up. The copy grips its staff tightly and unleashes a downward slash at the protagonist. The energy blast flies at high speed. Jiwoo just sighs as the attack returns to his original form and counters with an upward slash. The two powers collide violently. Everyone watching the fight is stunned. It was like two opposing forces colliding on the planet. As the smoke begins to clear, the two Jiwoos charge at each other, gritting their teeth and screaming like they're in a rage compilation. Their powers clash while staffs move at blinding frame rates. Shock waves from the impact are literally lagging the server zone, as our main character focuses every ounce of strength into these hits. But this copycat is mirroring him frame perfect, both popping their ult simultaneously and unleashing that infinite slash combo. Non-stop attacks detonate and absolutely delete the western forest while their power auras, blue and red, clash like a graphics glitch. Jiwoo cranks the force to max, getting hit with major deja vu. And the clone isn't holding back either, unleashing full DPS for a final strike while our MC lets out a furious roar. Their attacks smash together, nuking everything, again leaving both Jiwoo and his evil twin shook by the outcome. As the power blast yeets a chunk of earth, forcing Habaek and Urus to shield their eyes, the water god starts yapping that, since they both took headshots, the impact should have deleted them. But Urus just cries out for his big bro as the smoke starts to clear, showing the copy, and our main character rolling on the floor like glitchy, shapeless blobs. Using that broken healing factor to reboot their human forms, Habaek notes, they aren't crazy, but this looks like the only way. They can respawn. Suddenly, they snap back to normal models and rush each other instantly. Forces slam together again, wrapping the mountain in a red and blue explosion, while the peanut gallery keeps watching from the sidelines. Urus decides it's time. Habaek answers why he was griefing his big bro, and why he kidnapped Captain Love. But Habaek just keeps grinning like a troll, saying as expected. Urus is clueless, telling him to watch the others, claiming that not even that specific person can move sloppy around him, talking about the strongest player in Chrono Life, the Proud. Urus then Habaek flips the script, asking why Urus, who never cared about world lore, is partying up with a basic human, repeating the question, and wondering if Habaek is just slow on the uptake. His buddy says Urus has the wrong idea and needs to chill, because he doesn't want beef with Mr. Hero. The loot he wanted was God's peace, so Urus asks if he means captain. Love and Habaek starts laughing, asking what he's smoking, since a human would never have that kind of value. Han Sarang was just the inventory holder for God's peace. Meanwhile, in the hidden tower, her mom is apologizing to her. She says she's super sorry and hopes her daughter can deal with it, until she notices the girl has absolutely zero items in her hands. Silence fills the room for a sec. Then she suddenly grabs her daughter's hand, screaming, "My beautiful daughter, Han Sarang! Where are the gauntlets of silence?" Back at the mountain. Urus asks if those are the god's peace items. And they only cost 10 million, but Habaek says the price tag is irrelevant, and soon, noobs will be able to get it. See items in Chrono Life have tier lists first. You got the trash tier, normal items. Then comes rare, followed by unique, and finally the Newman rank, though Urus heard rumors of a transcendent rank but never saw one, IRL, realizing that Jiwoo is actually hoarding all of those. Habaek says, forget the stats or rarity, God's Peace is a dev item level special, though transcendent is an exception, especially for the gods. Meanwhile, Luna is spectating the 1v1 from afar. She roasts Mr. Habaek for leaking every secret, saying a guy with a loose mouth has zero riz, asking if that's facts. While next to her, a god munching a sandwich says, this is old news. Everyone already knew, seeing as Luna herself has been farming god pieces since she joined the guild. At random that night, realizing that thing meant the gauntlets of silence, Luna says, just as she thought he knew the whole time then, the god asks if she really thought Eurekan could just absorb God's peace. The goddess of life nods, saying she tried to play it cool, but the RNG gave a different result than she expected. Suddenly, a massive explosion rips through Jiwoo and his clone clash, but Jiwoo's stamina bar is flashing red. While his clone is at full energy, landing a precise hit, Jiwoo realizes he's about to get cooked, but takes a critical slash to the chest and gets yeeted away. Urus screams for his big bro, while Habaek explains that even with identical stats and mechanics, there's a fatal skill gap, the difference between a player and a scripted bot. Unlike our hero, the copy doesn't make mistakes from stamina drain, meaning the momentum of this battle is shifting. Urus flies toward his bro, Habaek sighs at the cringe, and Jiwoo's body melts into a sticky mess on the floor, but suddenly respawns with a chest wound. Urus rushes over as Jiwoo activates. His HP bar refills instantly as the healing factor kicks in, and he wipes the blood off his face, screaming that this is actually insane fun. Urus and Habaek look totally shook, but Jiwoo drops the bomb that he's been bored out of his mind, because usually he one-shots every mob in the lobby. He admits he doesn't even want to delete this imposter yet, because he wants to farm some entertainment, leaving Urus confused, since our boy is technically in the kill zone. The clone rushes in for the kill, but Jiwoo just laughs at the danger and stands completely still, like he went AFK mid-match. He casually announces there are exactly 2 win conditions to delete this scrub, keeping everyone from Urus to the literal gods on the edge of their seat. While the chat is reeling from that info, their weapons clash and trigger a massive explosion that basically deletes a chunk of the map geometry. Urus tries to shield his eyes while Luna and the god just tank the shockwave like bosses, and then finally the smoke clears up. Habaek remembers the MC mentioned 2 different strats to end this fight, and gets super curious about which cheese method he's gonna pick. Luna takes a bite of her sandwich and calls Cap, saying he's just bluffing, because compared to other raid bosses in Chrono Life, this is different. Habaek is built different with that 8 visions ability, which is honestly broken. Definitely not a boss designed for a solo run. She's totally doubting our boy's chances, but then Jiwoo drops the mic and reveals that the first method was actually simple. He could just blow up the entire planet Luna, and the gods start sweating bullets, but the MC explains that nuking the world has a purpose. If he resets the game like last time, Captain Love would respawn at the starter village, and this glitchy imposter would just vanish. But he's not in the mood for a rerun, and wants to test out some new tech instead, which makes the 2 gods let out a massive sigh of relief. Meanwhile, Diogba is over there chewing his fingernails off, literally praying to RNGesus that Jiwoo picks option 2. He is stressing the most right now, but we cut away to the hidden tower, where a mom is interrogating her daughter about the location of the silence gauntlets. She tells her to stop capping and promises she won't rage, but then the dad steps in and mentions that Habaek is involved. He says they'd get a huge payout for the loot, claiming they aren't asking for much, and that she owes them everything just for spawning her into this world. Ansarang replies that she genuinely has no clue since she lost the item ages ago, but her dad gets up in her face thinking she's hiding the loot in a secret stash. She denies it, but he lands a brutal critical hit right on her face and starts screaming, calling her an ungrateful little brat. He yells that they put up with her when she ran away, calling her a total waste of gold, and claiming she must have forgotten who carried her early game. He demands to know where his return on investment is. But thankfully, we cut back to the main boss fight. A magic circle spawns under Jiwoo, leaving Bruce confused and wondering if the newbie master just unlocked a new skill tree. Habaek looks confused too, but the dragon seems to recognize that purple aura as Jiwoo starts cooking. He activates the skill he looted from Urukon, and a tentacle bursts out of his body. Its gluttony literally pouring out of his mouth. While Uru is wondering if they can even log out of this area, the tentacle spears the clone straight through the back. It starts draining the clone's HP instantly, and Habaek asks if this was the master plan all along. Did he really think the clones couldn't copy the gluttony perk? Suddenly, another tentacle shoots out of the clone's mouth. It slams into Jiwoo's chest, and now they're both draining each other. Habaek explains that this mob is a perfect mirror reflection. It copies his entire kit, meaning it has the gluttony skill, the broken healing factor, and even the battery. Jiwoo's strategy looks like a total fail, and he should have just nuked the map, but then he commands the system to equip the reserve battery. Habaek wonders what that even means, but before his lag can catch up, he gets impaled by a stinger right in the chest. Jiwoo explains that his second attack wasn't for the clone. It was a direct snipe at the main body as the tentacle starts doing work.